Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Tuesday Trucker Talk. I'm sure you've guessed by now I'm Trucker Todd, and it's time to get this party started. This is going to be one of those videos that a lot of you guys enjoy. I hate doing. I'm going to end up ranting about a few things, some things that are really bothering me that I'm really upset about. I've kept it kind of under wraps for a while, but tonight's that night. But before we do that, I want to go through here and say hi to some of you. Some of you have been waiting about 30 minutes for me to get on here. Of course, the first one in here for almost every video. He's really loyal, good guy, great comments. Of course, we're talking about Asphalt Jungle. Thanks for being here, man. And of course, my good friend Tim Back is here. But as always, he's driving, so he'll be listening in the background and commenting when he can. But he's focused on safety as he should be, and as I hope you guys are doing if you're driving. Just put the phone down and listen to it on Bluetooth through your radio, so you don't have an accident. And of course, I don't mention it very often, but those of you that are watching me on the replay, I really appreciate you all as well. Gary Cook's another one. Good evening. I'm driving but listening. Good deal. That's really nice to hear that I get to travel down the highway with you all. Another really loyal viewer, Ramon, is here. Thank you for coming in, man. I apologize once again for starting late tonight. It's been a crazy, crazy week, and we're going to talk about some of that tonight. For those that are wondering, just left West Virginia. I'm on my way to Lakeland, Florida for a sometime Thursday morning delivery. Now, before you guys chew me out, I get it. I normally don't go to Florida. I know the rates are decent going in, and they're terrible coming out. I've already looked. I knew that when I booked this load. So why in the world would I book a Florida load? That's going to play into this story tonight, as you can tell in the title. We're going to talk about Kordell truck sales later in just a few minutes, actually. I've got quite a bit to say about them, and you can predict how it's going to go. If you look in the ticker below my video, for the first time in almost 3 months, Avery's information is not there. They're still on my website, but I'll be taking care of that very soon too. Also, I haven't put the headset on there yet. Not because I don't like the headset or that I've had problems with the headset, but just because I've been so busy, I hadn't had time. Incidentally, you guys know I knew that I had an issue with that other solar powered headset. I'm currently not using it. I'm using my backup headset. They did send me another one that came in the mail today, so next time I get home, I'll start using that headset again, as it is the one I really prefer. Here's a shocker to me. Gary Cook may be leaving Advanced Trucking soon. What's going on, Gary? Advanced Trucking was the rave not too long ago. Everybody was saying it was the place to go. Before I came to the company I'm at now, they were third on my list of companies. We had some serious conversations about me going to work there. But when it came down to it, the place I'm working now just couldn't be beat. The second place choice was a real struggle between it and where I ended up. And the only thing that made me come here instead of there, well, it was a couple of things. One of them was I liked the owner here. And we bumped heads once this week, but I still like the guy. We got it worked out, and we're back on peaceful terms now. But that and the other place paid weekly, and this guy pays after every trip. And that was a big selling point to me. And so tomorrow I've got a video coming out. I'm going to show the 2 trailers that I've pulled since I've been at this company. And then I'm trying to get a video out later this week. Somebody asked me to do a video about what you should do immediately after an accident, what you should not do. And I'm going to try to put that video out Friday if I can. If not, it'll roll over to Monday. It just depends how this week goes. On this trip I just finished, I had a trailer tire blowout on that trailer I just picked up. So we got that fixed. It put me a little bit behind, but I was still able to get delivered today. And so that's kind of why I was 15 minutes late getting the show started tonight. Had to do it at 5:15 instead of 5. So anyway, let's see what my good friend OTR Vic has to say. Good evening from hell, aka Houston, Texas. I agree. I believe Houston should not be part of Texas. It, man, I get lost. I had a deal when I worked at Dart. I went to the exact same Target store in Houston 3 days in a row, and I got lost all 3 times because of the construction. And man, it's the city that never stops building, and the roads are still terrible. I've been driving almost 27 years. They've been working on those roads for 27 years, and they're still terrible. But anyway, I'm glad you're here tonight. I bet it's hot down there. It probably feels like you're in hell or in an oven or something. Good evening, Michael. Thank you for being here. Tim sent this out right before the show started. Let's go. He's ready for us to get started. I can't wait to talk to you guys about Kordell truck sales. We're going to get into that here in just a minute. And admittedly, it's going to be tough for me to talk about because some of it has to do with being a YouTuber, being an influencer, things like that. Some of it, if you haven't been in my shoes, it's going to be hard for you to understand. I'm just going to ask you to kind of hear my side of it and try to give me the benefit of the doubt as much as you can. And give them the benefit of the doubt too. After seeing my video, if you want to contact them and get their side of the story, I don't blame you for doing that. I have pulled down all of his contact information except for on the website, truckertodd.net. You can still go there and get the phone number, or you can look at one of my older videos and it'll be in the description of those as well. Don is here. Thanks for being here, Don. Cool motorcycle. I think I said that last week too. Hey, Trucker T and the rest of my fellow truckers. Hey, Red Raider Reloading. Good to see you again. Good evening, Todd. Hello, Kevin Snipes. Thank you for being here. We're almost to the end of this, and then we'll jump into that story. Hey, Todd, did you ever get cleared on that accident? JB Weld is the best. So I still can't talk about the accident, but we are coming very close to the time, and I mean very close to the time to where I can talk about it and also reveal where I'm working at. I want to refer to the JB Weld comment because that was meant to be a stab at me. And so let me answer that. So what happened, there was some JB Weld that was placed on that truck in Lubbock, Texas, before I drove it to Chattanooga, Tennessee. When I got to Chattanooga, Tennessee, the truck broke down. And one of the things they repaired, I had $7,000 worth of repairs out there. One of the things they repaired was that tank, not with JB Weld as he's suggesting here, but actually a whole new tank was put in, and I want to say it was like $700. Don't hold me to that, but it was a fairly expensive tank. So the innuendo here from this comment is that I half-assed repairs or something like that. Nothing could be further from the truth. As I said, in Chattanooga, I spent over $7,000 getting things up to spec. So that's nothing could be further from the truth. But funny comment, by the way. And this tank, there was no, I also had an air leak on this truck. That tank was repaired at a metal fabrication shop. There was no JB Weld or funny business there either. And of course, the insinuation here would be that I half-assed it and put JB Weld on it, and that's why I had problems or had that accident. And nothing could be further from the truth. This right here is exactly why I want to say what happened that day on the accident and set the record straight. And I hope I can do that soon, because some trolls with nothing better to do with their time than make stuff up have made up a bunch of stuff that's not true. They don't have a clue what happened or did not happen. But they never let the truth get in the way of a good story. They're basically the CNNs of YouTube. Hey, Steve, thanks for being here tonight. I was afraid I was going to have to do that. Give me just a second. Moderators, when we have boneheads on here, feel free to take care of them. I just took care of one. Hey, Wesley, thanks for being here. Hey, Ed, thank you for coming in tonight. Good evening from South Carolina, Trucker Todd. I'll be there shortly. I shared earlier in the show, I left Huntington, West Virginia this morning, or well, it was right about lunchtime actually, and picked up a load, and I'm on my way to Lakeland, Florida right now. And I'm fixing to get into why I'm doing all of that. But yeah, that's what's going on here. So my good friend Robbie Ross is here, a guy I've known for several years. Well, we've never met in person. We've talked on the phone for several years. He lives in Phoenix, and he had a flooding issue at his house, and they're having to get his house. He sent me pictures. It's pretty bad out there. If y'all get a chance, say a prayer for Robbie. But yeah, he's going through some stuff right now himself. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about this Kordell truck sales. All right. Again, this is going to be hard to explain. I went for a walk before I went live tonight because I wanted to calm down and I wanted to have a clear head when I talked about it. So we're going to have to go prior to Kordell sales. As the troll mentioned a minute ago, I did have an accident back in April and totaled my truck, which I'd paid cash for. I had bought it from a viewer that's in here when he can be. He usually drives on Tuesday nights and he's not able to be here. I totaled that truck in Texarkana. And when I do the video about what to do post-accident, I'll give you the details on that story, a lot more about how I got home, things like that, how I got my stuff out of the truck, all that. But for time constraint purposes, I was in the market for a truck. Now, insurance companies don't move fast. Usually takes them 2 to 3 months. They did try to hurry for me, and it took them about 6 or 7 weeks. During that time, I was truck shopping, and my credit took over 100-point hit because, you know, every time I talked to a dealership, they'd pull my credit. And so I got a bunch of inquiries. And so I should have been a little more strict on that. I knew better from my car sale days. But, you know, they all say the same thing. Oh, we're going to do a soft pull. It won't show on your credit. And that turned out to not be the case. That's neither here nor there. Anyway, I decided at that point that I didn't want to do another lease purchase unless I had to. And if other people were in the same boat as me, I wanted to find them a way where they could get a truck regardless of credit, things like that. Now, there's already places that'll do that with varying degrees of criteria and qualifications to qualify for a truck. Everybody's familiar with Loan Mountain. Loan Mountain will go through your bank account and make sure you got enough money to pay for your truck and stuff. And I don't necessarily have a problem with that. I think that's a good idea. I settled on a company out of Dubuque, Iowa. I've got a couple others that I also work with if you guys are needing a truck. And they had the truck I wanted. They seemed like good people. They had decent reviews. And so that's the direction I went. I worked out a deal with them where I had a salesman that seemed like a good guy, a guy I liked at the time. And, you know, I was going to help other people. They knew that going into the deal. Now, one thing you got to remember, and this is going to sound like I'm tooting my own horn. I'm not trying to. I don't mean it this way. But being Trucker Todd has its advantages. And that may be fair, may not be fair. We can debate whether it is, but that's what's going on there. So I got the truck in the beginning. I was really happy. I drove it back to Texas. You guys remember that I got back to Texas. You're supposed to have 3 weeks with no truck payment, and I got back and the starter was starting to act up, and I couldn't pass the Texas state inspection to do the title transfer. And so uh, it ended up taking roughly a little over 2 weeks to get everything done. So I didn't really get the benefit of the 3 free weeks with no truck payment. And so I talked to my salesperson, and he said he was going to get with the company and see if they could give me a couple more weeks of no truck payment because of all the problems I'd had with the truck. They found out they had put the wrong starter on the truck, and that's why I was having starter problems. And that they'd put new brake pads on it, but they didn't adjust the brakes, so they weren't making full contact to pass inspection. So, again, one of my rules on YouTube is I don't make a video as long as the company's trying to fix it, as long as they're trying to do the right thing. So, I've kept quiet about all this till now. And so, yeah, I'm sure you can see where this is going. Something has happened. So, after that, I went and I started with this company. You guys remember the starter went out in his driveway, first day of orientation. We put a starter on it on the drive in the driveway. At this time, still hadn't pulled a load with the truck. Have had it almost 3 weeks because of uh, clerical errors on their part and things like that. They mailed my paperwork to the wrong office in Lubbock after I told them which office to mail it to. Just all kinds of stuff. Again, after a couple of weeks, they said, yeah, we're going to reimburse you for that starter. I sent them pictures of the old starter. I sent them pictures of the new starter. I sent them the receipt. Well, we're going to come back to these things, but let's just say it took them over 2 months to reimburse me for the starter. And I still haven't got those 2 extra weeks of no truck payment that they said I was going to get. Anyway, I was still happy with the truck. I was going to let bygones be bygones. So a guy I know, I guess you'd say a friend of mine that we used to work at Roadrunner together, called me and said, hey, Todd, I saw your truck. I really like it. I want to get one. I made the introduction with him in the dealership, and they got him a truck. He got a much older one. He got a 2015 T680. Right out of the bat, he had problems. Now, remember, this is the truck that's supposed to have a multi-point inspection on it, all this. He found stuff like his right wiper arm wasn't going up and down. He had some wiring issues with his inverter, just all kinds of stuff. And also, he had the same title problems I did. I think their title clerk probably needs some training or something, because there's been me and 2 other people now that I'm familiar with that have bought trucks there that have had trouble getting the title transferred. So he's pretty upset. He's had a lot of trouble right out of the gate. As a result of that, he's had trouble being successful. I talked to him earlier on the phone today. Then a couple of weeks later, another really good friend of mine, I'm not going to say his name, he's probably in here right now. He bought a truck, and he also had a pretty bad experience, mostly with trying to get the title transferred. They told him there was an issue with the transmission. Later, they told him it was a fan clutch. He's had it looked at since. They told him they replaced the transmission ECU, and the mechanic that looked at it said they don't believe that the ECU was replaced. If it was, they believe a used one was placed on there. And he told me 2 nights ago that he feels like his transmission is slipping in first gear. So hopefully he won't have transmission issues as a result of that. So both of those guys, something that the dealership does for everybody, not just me. If you refer a friend, they give you $250. So here's 2 guys. That should be $500, right? Simple math. And so we're talking about 2 weeks worth of truck payment. Let's call them 700 a piece. That's $1,400. $501 for the starter, and then two referrals at $250 a piece is another 500. That's what 5,000 $2,400. Okay, during all of this mayhem, when my tank went down and everything, I got one truck payment behind. And at the time, they told me, it's no big deal. We'll work it out later. And I kept asking, hey, when am I going to get paid the rest of that money y'all owe me? When am I getting those truck payments we talked about? Oh, we're working on it. Just a couple more weeks. Just a couple more weeks. Well, today, the new excuse was, we can't pay you because you're behind one truck payment. Now, keep in mind, when all of this stuff happened, I wasn't behind one truck payment. I was current. I still have it ACH drafted out of my account every Friday. So I don't know why that became the policy this week, and it hasn't been the policy for the other 3 months or so that I've had the truck, but that's the policy now. I said, fine, I'll pay it on Friday. Charge me a double payment, then we're current. When am I getting my money? We don't know. So I think it's kind of ironic. I think it's kind of crooked. I think it's kind of shady that if I'm a 1 week behind, it's a huge deal. But if they're almost 3 months behind, it's not that big a deal. And so that's, I talked to Avery about it today. Oh, Todd, we're going to make it right. We're going to make it right. And we'll see if they do. I'll be fair. I'll come back on here. I'll make another video and I'll say, they did the right thing. Now, I think it's pretty crappy that it takes me making a video for somebody to do the right thing. To me, that shows a character flaw. It shows some ethical problems, things like that. But we'll see. Maybe this will inspire them to do the right thing. It's inspired other trucking companies to do the right thing in the past, and maybe that the same thing will happen here. But that's why I've pulled all of Avery's stuff. No amount of money is worth losing your integrity. And as I told Avery today, I can't deal with guys that do business this way. I had a really good friend in here that did some stuff I felt like was unethical, and I quit being friends with him. I told him the same thing. I don't deal with people that do business the way you do business. And so, if they do the right thing, maybe there'll be a point where I'll talk about them again, where I'll recommend them again. But right now, based on what I've seen for my situation, what I've seen for the two people I know that have bought trucks from there, I'm not going to be recommending them in the near future. Now, I don't want to leave everybody high and dry. So if some of you other guys need a truck, I can tell you some places that I've talked with that I had a good feeling about, and you can contact them. Again, I don't make anything off of that. That's just me trying to help you. But I'm not going to promote guys that are, lying, cheating, stealing. And at this point, I feel that's what Kordell has done. Now, this is not an ambush. I invited them to come in the comments tonight. I said, hey, I'm going to talk about you guys. Feel free to come in the comments and give your side of the story. They're welcome to come in here, say what they want to say. But I'm not going to shine a light on a cockroach either. I'm not going to put them on camera. They're welcome to leave a comment if they want to, and we'll go from there. All right, let's get a couple more comments. And I hope I made that clear. Oh, so how did I end up going to Florida? Let's get that real quick. So I found a load. Basically, I could do it in just over 24 hours. It went from West Virginia, 12 miles from where I got empty, to Lakeland, Florida. Paid $2,700. It was just shy of $3 a mile, right around $3 a mile, let's call it. And I did that load for the sole purpose of being able to make up that back truck payment this Friday, which up until I started making a deal about the money they owed me, wasn't a big deal. But now, It's a huge deal. It's got to be paid. So I said, fine, I'll do this load and we'll take care of it on Friday. And then I don't ever want to hear about it again. So that's why I'm going to Florida. Hopefully it won't be 1,000,000 degrees when I get down there. I'm driving. I'll let you know where I'm working at later. Hey, yeah, Wesley, email me because I want to ask you about that hot shot deal you were doing too. What happened to that? For some reason, your phone's not letting you call me. So email me and tell me what's going on because I thought you was real happy with that hot shot deal. And now sounds like you're driving at another company, or maybe it's the same hot shot company and I've just got it all confused. Joe Bananas with the peace sign and sunglasses. Thanks for being here, man. Thank you. Howdy, no fear. Thanks for being here. Dennis Blazer, I feel your pain. Yeah, and one of my friends that got a truck, he's 2 or 3 weeks behind and they're working with him. But the whole reason they can't pay me this money is because I'm a week behind, and I'm not even a week behind now. I told them, take it out Friday. I don't care. Now let's talk about when I'm getting paid. I'm still digging out a hole from my whole experience. Yeah, it's tough. I'm almost out. I still got a little ways to go. Between companies and products and stuff, there's about $16,000 that's owed to me right now. And if everybody just paid me what they owed me, I'd be in great shape. But I have reason to believe that the vast majority of that money I'll never see. And so, it's vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, and the Lord's going to deal with those kind of people. And I believe you reap what you sow. And if you're constantly screwing people and ripping people off, it's going to come back to get you at some point. So I wish them the best, but I'm not going to come on here and talk about how great they are if they're secretly conspiring to screw me over. With all these trucks, you know how they have your fingers crossed, no pity parties. With all these trucks, you know how they are your fingers crossed, no pity parties. I didn't totally understand that one, but if you want to take another shot at it, I'll try to comment on it. Hey, Russell, thanks for being here. Yeah, that's what I thought. It's convenience for sure. B Feline Maximus. I think I know who that is. Jacob, is that you? Are you B Feline Maximus? It kind of looks like your cat. Well, here's another deal, and I wasn't going to tell this story, but my second friend that got a truck from him, he was supposed to go pick his truck up. He got there and they told him that they were having transmission problems, and it was like on a Friday, and they wanted him to spend the weekend in a hotel, and he couldn't because he was meeting with the owner of the company he was going to over that weekend, I believe it was, and he needed to get back home, and so they had bought him a hotel, but they knew he needed to go back. He told them that before they ever got the hotel, and they didn't pay his bus ticket, plane ticket, nothing. And I feel like if it was an error on their part, they should have made it right. I would never treat a customer the way they were treating him. And I think overall he likes his truck, but he's the one that's complaining that first gear doesn't feel right in it. So, maybe they will. Maybe as a result of this video, they'll call him and say, hey, we want to make this right and do the right thing. But, they told him, oh, we guarantee it'll be ready Monday. And it's a good thing he went back home because it wasn't ready for several days. And then he got home, and it took over a week to get his title transfer done because the girl in Dubuque didn't know what she was doing. And so I don't get it. I really don't. Like I say, if this video inspires them to do the right thing, then I'll make a video and tell you, hey, they made it right and we're good again. Maybe they just fumbled the football this time, but I'm seeing 3 fumbles in a row, and it starts looking more like a company strategy instead of a company accident. Coach is killing it. Are you going over there? The last video I saw of coaches, they were talking about changing up their business model. I guess they said the bottom had fell out of what they were doing. But I have no desire to run teams, so I'm watching their journey. I wish them the best, but I'm pretty happy doing what I'm doing, to be quite honest. Oh boy, it must be a slow night. The trolls are out in force. Thank you, sir. If I got any moderators in here, y'all kick the trolls if they're going to say disrespectful things like that. We don't need them in here. Yeah, we're going to be blocking a lot of people, it looks like. I'm glad I haven't bought anything from them. Yeah, it'd be real shady of me to keep recommending them when there's obvious problems that they don't want to address. Moshe Spears in Florida is a good truck driver, or a good truck dealer. Well, there you go. If anybody is looking for a truck, maybe you check them out. I'm going to have to block a few more people, it looks like. Oh, this is going to be a fun night. Hey, Skyline, thanks for being here tonight. Good to see you. Yes, he is. He's running team with Stewie. They've changed their channel name to Coach and Stewie. Matter of fact, they dumped that big one with like 39,000 subscribers, and I think they've got 300 or 400 now. They're trying to build it from the ground up, and they look like they're having a lot of fun. Every time they do a video, they're cooking out or in a restaurant or something like that, or in a hotel. So looks like they've found that perfect balance where they're making a good living and having fun at the same time. Oh boy, you guys are funny. Hit the likes, people. Yeah, please do. I'd appreciate it. Oh gosh, I guess we are going to talk about this tonight. I'm in Arizona and it's raining here. It was hot as heck. Yeah, I caught a lot of rain going to West Virginia the other day. I'll be in Florida sometime tomorrow evening, probably. That's too bad. I'm sorry, Todd. Thanks, Dennis. No, I'm not going to return the truck. I'm going to keep working. I mean, it's as long as I can keep this truck going, I'm going to keep working. I'm not returning the truck. No reason to. I've got a good deal now. It's just I'm not going to promote somebody that does shady things because that reflects bad on me. I'm not going to recommend that OTR Vic goes there if they're screwing me over because I don't want them to screw you over. If they'll screw me over with my channel and my following, then they'll sure screw a guy over that doesn't have a YouTube channel or doesn't know a lot of people, things like that. Dennis says he jumped back to day cab. All righty. Hot shot job wasn't working out. He was not working me. I've always thought that'd be fun to do hot shot work, but uh, no chance of it now. Oh gosh. Let's see here. I mean, you know how these trucks have all kinds of problems. You just hope for the best. Yeah, mine's been, you know, it's not that mine's had a lot of problems. And I am going to address this question. This is one bonehead statement I'm going to address. Welcome to the owner operator game. Randy, I'm pretty sure I've been doing this a lot longer than you have, so I'm familiar with how the game works. As for my truck, it's been fairly reliable. It's just when it did have an issue, it had it at the worst possible time. And I realize how silly it is to say that because there's never a good time to break down, but it just seemed like uh, it could have, there could have been better times for sure than when it did. But uh, the last thing you need though is to not be able to count on the people that you're associated with. And if a dealership says, "Hey, yeah, we made a mistake. We put the wrong starter on that truck," shouldn't take them 2 months uh, to uh, to reimburse you for that starter. And if they say, "Hey, we appreciate you sending us two of your friends. We're going to send you $500," they shouldn't be making excuses not to send it to you. And if they say, "Hey, we realize that the reason you can't get your truck registered is because we didn't do our paperwork right, we didn't do our clerical stuff right, and we're going to give you a couple of weeks with no truck payment, a couple of extra weeks with no truck payment," then they should just do what they say they're going to do. It's not me asking for special treatment. It's not anything like that. It's doing what you say you're going to do. It's having integrity. And I guess, in here I got, especially tonight, it sounds like there's some boneheads in here that they have no integrity. And so they don't have a clue what I'm talking about right now. But me, I've got integrity. And if I recommend something or I put my name on something, then I stand by it as good. And if I later determine, well, I thought it was good, but it's not, then I'm going to come back and tell you I wouldn't mess with them if I were you. And if you choose to do it, then you can do it. But you can't come back and say, "Well, I got tricked by Trucker Todd." I think this thing froze. Good afternoon, Alaska Hall. Thank you for being here. That's a great question. That's a great question. Don't know. They wouldn't surprise me. I really wanted to make my situation work. Unfortunately, it's a bad trucking economy. Yeah, and I find it funny the guys in here that are doing the negative comments or saying welcome to the owner op world and all this aren't even owner operators. So some of them ain't even truck drivers, and they're in here commenting like they know what they're talking about. Well, thank you, Ghostface. I guess I am going to take this question. Do you honestly think that company cares about your YouTube review? Come on, man. Well, I could show you the text messages. They actually do. We spent over an hour going back and forth in text messages talking about tonight's video, and them begging me not to do it. They were going to make it right. And I said, I'm tired of false promises. When y'all make it right, I'll make a video and say you made it right. Randy, just because nobody cares what you think or what your thoughts are on things doesn't mean that nobody cares what my thoughts are or what I think. And if you want to prove me wrong, start your own YouTube channel and see how many viewers you get. They figure you drew first blood by missing a payment. Don't look for a bright spot. Actually, no, because when all of three of those things happened, I wasn't behind on a payment, so I was current. So, no, that's not true at all. That's just an excuse they've devised for why they couldn't pay. And as soon as they said that was the hangup, because I mentioned it last week, I said, hey, I need to catch that payment up. And they're like, oh, don't worry about it. We'll catch it up in a couple of weeks. We'll do half one week, half another week, whatever. They're like, we know the market's bad right now. I said, all right. But this week when they said, oh, no, it's an issue, we need to take care of it, I said, all right, let's take care of it. So, no, it's not that way at all. Yeah, there's a lot of those in here tonight. They've been kind of absent for a few weeks, and here's what I'd say to all of them and to the NFG in general. The problem with trucking is that instead of us trying to help each other, we try to stir up drama and chaos and problems and things like that instead of helping each other. Those guys could have come in here tonight, said something productive, said something helpful, but instead they're making stupid comments about JB Weld and things like that. Nothing could be further from the truth. Um, there was JB Weld on that tank prior to me going to Chattanooga, which was prior to the accident. But I mean, I can post the receipt on here. I put a brand new tank on that truck, special ordered. That's part of why the truck was in the shop for a few days. We had to order that tank. So the insinuations they're making is because they don't know the truth and they don't know what they're talking about. And I'll be glad when I can talk about it, which is probably going to be pretty soon. And then I'm sure that'll stir them all up again. But I can't imagine being in a group where all we did was sit around and cry and bicker and make up stories about people. It's like an adult soap opera. And if you're into soap operas, there's plenty on TV you can watch. I've been deleting messages when I see bad comments. Thanks, Dennis. I appreciate it. I think you're beating me to it. I was going to delete some of them and I couldn't find them on my phone. I guess you guys got them before I did. Thank you for doing that, Dennis. If I see you somewhere, I'll buy you a hamburger. Sorry I'm late. Forgot it's Tuesday. Hope you're doing well. Yes, sir, Todd. Ted, I was telling everybody what's been going on this week. Abandoned PJAG. I still like that name. Howdy, everyone. Howdy, Abandon. Thank you, Tim. I appreciate it. It's I knew we was going to have a few tonight, and that's okay. I just wish, you know, this is something else. Like, and I've shared this in other videos. The reason I like Tim back is because he and I don't agree on everything, but he can articulate a point. He can say, and he can say stuff based in fact, and he can give me a good argument that we can debate. These trolls come in here and they can't even articulate a good point or say something that we can debate. And so it's hard to have a conversation with them. They just make stuff up. I've still got my truck. It's this is the 2020 T680. It's running great. Like I said, I'm pulling a load let down to Lakeland, Florida right now, and it's doing good. Issues I've had with it since I got it. It had the wrong starter on it that was installed on it prior to me getting it. The starter went out. The APU quit working at one point. I got that fixed. The biggest breakdown I've had was an air tank that started off with a crack, and I sent it to a welding shop, and they blew a hole in it. And then I had to send it to a a metal fabrication shop and have them fix it because I couldn't even get one from PACCAR. And so that's been the biggest breakdown. Tires have all been good. They're all wearing even. So alignment and all of that is good. I did have a minor problem with the wiring for my CB. It wasn't getting power up there, and CB shop fixed that. And somehow when they were doing that, they fixed my cooled seat over here. It wasn't getting cool. And I guess when they was fiddling with it, something they did fix the seat too. So now the truck's good. I got rid of that other trailer. I've got a really good trailer now. Coach is living the dream. Who else can sit at a U-Haul parking lot to eat burgers? Uh, I pulled a load similar to theirs. Uh, it was those big storage boxes for U-Haul, and I think I had 7 of them in my trailer, and that was a pretty good load. It was decent paying. It was easy to get loaded, easy to get unloaded. Pulled well. It was light. So, man, if they've got that deal running team, they're doing real good. I was under the impression they were loading a bunch of partial loads on their trailer and delivering them throughout the country, but they're a little bit vague on exactly what they're doing, or at least in my opinion. But I don't blame them. If they gave you great detail of what they were doing, then everybody would do it, and it wouldn't be available to them. I'm glad they found. I tried one into. Just wanted to know how to move my wheels up, change the weight of the load. Like I said a minute ago, they probably were responding mainly because most of them didn't know. Most of them aren't truck drivers, and some of them that are truck drivers. And I said some of them. I'm sure there's some. Well, I know one guy in there that is a good guy. I stopped and had dinner with him one day at a Wendy's, and he's a great guy. And he's one of the leaders of the group. So I think, and I know other people have said this. This isn't an original thought. I think most of the guys in the NFG, if you sat down and had a hamburger with them and talked to them and got to know them, they're probably great guys. They're trying to get popular, and they're trying to do it the wrong way. The way you build a YouTube channel is consistently put out good content, and eventually you get noticed and people start watching you. The way you destroy a YouTube channel is talking crap about people and making up stuff and all. It's interesting. You get an initial spike, everybody watches, but after a while they're like, what else you got? It's kind of like a one-hit wonder, like an 80s one-hit wonder band. You go to watch them in concert and they play their hit and you go, okay, what else you got? And I think there's a lot more longevity in coming on here and trying to help people than there is by doing what they're doing. But I mean, if that's what they want to do, they can do that. As far as moving your wheels up to change the weight of your load, Basically, the further up your wheels goes, the more weight it removes from your fifth wheel and puts it back on your tandems. Usually it's about 300 or 400 pounds per slot. And sometimes if it's really close and you have the ability, you can slide your fifth wheel and move a little bit of weight. But usually you can do it by just doing your tandems. And a lot of warehouses now load the front part of the trailer a little heavier so that it's easier to do. You just slide your wheels all the way up or to the third hole or something like that, and you're pretty close. I have a gauge in here that tells me my fifth wheel pressure, and if I get it up around 62 or so, I'm usually pretty accurate. I rarely have to scale a load. I have to say a big thanks to Dart to route me home to deal with the flood. It wasn't as bad as I was thinking from the pictures. They have been so professional, the contractor I'm working with. Well, that's great. It's I can't even imagine. I've never experienced anything like that with my house flooding or losing everything like that. So it's probably anybody that's working with you or trying to help you is probably a big weight off your shoulders. Hey, Todd, I'm here listening in the background. Good deal, Matthew Miller. Thank you for being here. Smoke says hi to Ghostface. Speed Shifter's here. Hey, Speed Shifter, thanks for coming in. Tony Skinner checking in from South Alabama. Thank you for being here. Smoke saying hi, or Ghost saying hi to Smoke. Chris Petrie is here. Good evening, Todd. Hey, I hadn't seen you in a while. How you doing, my friend? Dennis says, oh, wow. Eddie Moon, swift update, Todd. Numbers are up. Your suggestions were good. Over 2,000 miles a week since. Good deal. Hopefully it'll last. A lot of guys have been contacting me from Swift lately and saying that freight is starting to rebound. So I hope it's just not at Swift. I hope it's starting to rebound everywhere. I can tell you this morning, when I was looking on the load board, it was still, there was a lot of loads on there, but it was still pretty slim finding good paying loads or even okay paying loads. But it seemed like there was more this week than there was last week. But you guys know I'm a real optimistic person, and I'm going to, look for things to be positive about instead of saying the sky's falling. But yeah, I thought it looked a little better. Like I say, this load going to Florida is doing good, and even Florida was looking terrible a couple of weeks ago. Now, I know going into it, I'm gonna take a bath coming out of Florida, and I mean $1.20 a mile, $1.30 a mile. But hopefully, I can just do a little 300 or 400 mile run and get something good after that again. Getting into DFW, so it's time to go and pay attention. I'll holler at you later. All right, man. Have a good night. Be careful out there. When you get back to the yard, tell everybody I said hi. Oh, gosh. How many times y'all going to ask that tonight? It wasn't funny the first time. It's still not funny. You're sad, Adam. I've been watching you since you was at Dart. Well, thank you. Do you work at Dart also? Thumbs up, boys and girls. Yeah, I deserve it tonight. Thanks, Alex. If putting up with all these trolls, you guys give me a thumbs up, and I'd appreciate it. Yeah, I really think they're going to make an effort to fix it, and that's just speculation on my part. But I'm not going to come on here and recommend them until they do. And I felt like I owed it to you guys to tell y'all what's been going on. The salesman tried to take the blame for it, and he said, I just got busy and didn't get it done. And I said, well, that means you've been lying to me the last 2 months, because you've been telling me it was office people not doing stuff, and now you're saying it was you not doing stuff. And he's telling me, oh, what a great customer I am, how much he likes me, and how important I am. And I'm like, well, I'm not too important, because You've been backburnering me for 2 months. I appreciate you, Ghostface. I really do. Thank you for that, sir. When y'all hit the thumbs up, what that does, it changes the algorithms. I know now everybody's saying that, but I actually read a few books about how to be successful on YouTube and kind of learned how the algorithm works and things like that. And what it'll do when it gets a lot of thumbs up, it'll suggest this video more to more people, and then people will see that and they'll suggest it, and that's why the sharing the video and the thumbs up and the subscribing is so important. YouTube calls it an interaction, and it really does help. And I appreciate all of you. We're all busy, and so the fact that y'all are willing to sit here with me a few hours a week, I really appreciate each and every one of you. Tornado just came through Highway 13, headed into Chesapeake, Virginia, right by the way station. Tree limbs all over the road. Oh, dang. Dang, that's crazy. Hopefully you're in a safe place. Are you still driving, or are you parked for the night? Been off the road for about 14 years now. Think about going back out in the very near future. Your videos inspire me. Well, thanks, Tony. I'll tell you what I would worry about is all of these companies now. First of all, trucking's changed a lot in the last 14 years, but all of these companies now are going to want you to go out with a trainer again. And sometimes if you're just off the road for 6 months or a year, they'll do it to you. And they'll treat you like a rookie all over again. And I don't know that that's right. In the old days, they'd just give you a refresher course, and then they'd throw you back in a truck and away you went. But yeah, if you can stomach being trained again, it'd be good if you came back. But it's a lot different than it was 14 years ago, and I don't think it's different in a positive way. It's a different breed of driver out here now. Just made it in a little bit late. That's all right. Better late than never, Tom. Glad you're here. The bad thing is, if we're not having technical difficulties, it's troll problems. And that's that's what I would say about that is I would love it if they came on here. I like debate. If they could come on here and say something articulate or something thought provoking that we could debate or discuss, I'd love to have them on. But telling the JB Weld joke 600 times, it's not funny. It's not even based in truth. There was a very small amount of JB Weld on the original tank that before the tank got replaced that held fine. Patched the hole, did fine. When I got to Chattanooga, it blew a hole in a different place. The truck had 1.7 million miles on it. It was time to replace some stuff, and I had the money to do it. Like I said, I spent $7,000 fixing it in Chattanooga. So it had a brand new tank on it. That's part of why I really hated to lose that truck. I put a lot of money in it, and it was a good solid truck. So I got this hat at Hobby Lobby, and I actually have the new, I say new, it's been out a couple of years now, the new Atari VCS 800 is what they call it, I believe. You guys Google it when you get a chance if you like video games. It's a pretty cool system. It has some new games on it. It has some retro games on it. You can play Xbox Live on it. You can watch TV on it just like you could an Xbox. It's a pretty cool system. I've got 3 of them. I've got one at the house, one on my truck, and I've got a brand new one that's never been opened, that's in the box, still in the plastic, because I think it'll be a collector's item at some point. It also has what they call PC mode, and you can turn it into a computer real easy. I've got Windows 11 on mine. I also have the Debian operating system for like, what do you call it? Downloading emulators and things like that for games. And I love it. I also have a Switch, and an Xbox. So several gaming systems, and this laptop I'm on's a gaming laptop. I used to game quite a bit. I don't have time anymore. If I play it a couple of times a month for 30 or 40 minutes, I consider myself blessed. But um, yeah, I like everything from the 80s and 70s. I like 70s cars and pickups a lot. And so when I saw this hat, I had to get it. And actually, I don't go to Hobby Lobby a lot, but the day that we bought this hat at Hobby Lobby, my wife had found it on the internet, and we went there specifically to get this hat. I'm not leaving Advanced Trucking. I was kidding. I love it here. Oh, good, good. I was worried, man, because I hear a lot of good things about them. I dig the Atari hat, very retro. You're always welcome in the NFG, Todd. Well, thank you, Smoke. I went in there a few times, and I guess I'm too slow to pull the trigger. I had trouble keying up and getting in because people were keying in so fast. I'm glad that you would like me in there. I don't know that I can think of 2 or 3 members of that group that that wouldn't want me in there. One of those members, I've actually offered to sit down with him as a matter of fact, at the Matt's Truck Show. He was supposed to be going to it. I said, "Hey, I'm going to be there the whole time. Why don't we meet up? I'll buy you lunch. Let's talk. Let's work this out." And he didn't show up at the truck show. And while I was there, because he made a video, "Oh yeah, I'm here. I'm at Matt's." I said, "Well, I'm at this booth. I'm going to be here the next 3 hours. Come by and say hi." And nobody showed up. And I'm still out here. It's why I announce where I'm going, where I'm at. I'm not the type that's going to get on here and threaten people and say I'm going to beat them up or nothing. I really think a lot of this could be worked out by just sitting down and talking things out. But a lot of them don't want to do that. But I'm glad you like the hat, and I'm glad you're here, Smoke. Thanks for being here tonight. You definitely bought more trucks than Randy. You've done like 5 lease purchase, followed Coach. Actually, that's not true. Uh, so I've done lease purchase since 2001. 2001 was the first lease purchase I've done. I've completed several of them, and so this is the second truck I've purchased where the title was in my name. The first one being that Volvo. All the other was lease purchase. When I did a lease purchase, I didn't realize that you're still considered a first-time buyer since the title's not in your name. So when I went to go buy my trucks, it didn't help me that I'd done 20 years of lease purchases. As for following Coach, I've never followed Coach to any company. That's some more of the lies that are circulating around. Coach followed me to Swift, and prior to that, we didn't really know each other. I was familiar with his videos. He was familiar with mine. Since that time, I left Swift. He left Swift. And that's, to the best of my knowledge, the only company that we've ever worked at together. So I know there's a lot of stuff circulating around, like I was saying earlier, but most of it's not true. I just the reason I don't go in the NFG anymore is I just didn't see any benefit to it. Like I said, I met the one guy from the NFG, went to Wendy's, had lunch with him, and he's a very reasonable guy, very smart guy. I'm not going to call him out because y'all will probably all attack him, but I found him to be very reasonable, very smart, and I think we both came out of it with a different opinion of each other. I think there's a mutual respect there now, and I didn't go in NFG just because it's a lot of drama, and I really don't have the time for it. I've got audio books in here that I've been trying to listen to for months because the phone rings all day. I'm doing my thing, and if you surround yourself with negative, then you're going to start to think negative. And if you surround yourself with positive, then you're going to start to think positive. And so I try to limit that stuff. And it's a shame because, as I've alluded to in this video, there's several people in NFG that I actually like. I think if they sat down and had a conversation with me, I think they'd find out that we could be pretty good friends. But there's just so much BS that goes on in there that it's not possible for me to be a regular member. And I don't key up fast enough. I have a hard time getting in to leave a comment. You got to be quick on there. I agree, no fear. I think that Kordell should make it right, and I think eventually they will. You guys can go back and look at the old videos with Roadrunner, with Dart, with Swift. Sometimes a video is the nuclear option, but it's the only way to get things fixed. And that's why I'm doing this tonight. One of my self-imposed rules is I never make a video until the company just says, well, we're not going to do anything if you don't like it, tough. And I kind of felt that way about Kordell, that they were like, well, we're not going to do nothing. It's the way it is. And so I did the part that I was wrong about. I made up that truck payment, which they had discouraged me from doing up until this point. They said, don't worry about it. We'll get it later. And so, you know, we had talked about maybe this week doing half of it and next week doing half of it was the last discussion we had about it. And today I was like, no, I don't want any favors from you guys. Take the whole thing on Friday and let's be done with this. But no, I'm not turning the truck in. And anybody that comes on here and says that in a weekly truck payment situation, they've never been behind, I find that pretty hard to believe. And because you're going to have a week, especially if you're in the shop or something like that, especially if it's an extended repair. And for anybody to say that they don't ever have any issues like that, I find that pretty hard to believe. But I hope it's true. And so yeah, that's. But when a dealership tells you they're going to do something, if you go buy a car and as part of the deal they say we're going to tint your windows, and then they go, oh well, we're not going to tint your windows, even though we told you we were, even though we put it on the make ready that we were. Which, for those that don't know, that's the to-do list, things they agree to do in the contract. Then I don't know. You're not going to go tell your friends, hey, this is a great car dealership. I think you should buy from there. I totally know what you're talking about. Well, thank you, Dennis. I'm glad you see what I'm saying. No problem, Roger. Hello from Lexington. Sorry, I've been loading up. No problem. That's the deal. We're having a good turnout tonight. We got 64 here, and I really appreciate you. Several have indicated that you're driving and listening, so you're not able to drop comments. Several are coming in like Roger, where they've been loading or unloading or dropping and hooking, and this was their first chance to come in. And I'm glad all of you are here. Well, when it rains, it pours. Yeah, that's what they say. I lost big, but at least I tried. I did everything I could. And that's the deal. That's, you know, I've said this for a long time. I'm creeping up on 6,000 subscribers, and I earned every one of them the old fashioned way. I haven't bought none of my subscribers, nothing like that. And I've said, especially in this market, there's a very good chance I'll fail. Now, I've got a lot of people in my corner, and there's also a very good chance I'll succeed. But if I fail a year from now, I'm not going to be sitting at the kitchen table going, man, if I'd only tried this, maybe I could have saved it. I'm going to do everything I can to be successful. And then if I fail, I fail, and I'll start over and try again, probably in a lease purchase, because I won't be able to buy a truck. And so that's what you got to do. And some people don't need to do this because they're so afraid of failure. And so those people need to stay a company driver. But some people are risk takers. They're willing to take a chance, and you don't know till you go for it. Hard to take a Swift driver seriously. Well, it's a good thing I'm not a Swift driver. And I would say on that too that it's really dangerous to stereotype any driver just because of the company they work for. For a lot of reasons, Swift makes a lot of sense. They've got a vast freight network. I made the most money I've ever made with any trucking company while I was at Swift, and they've got tons of dedicated opportunities. They've got tons of local opportunities, and so I to discriminate against a driver because of just because of the company they work for. They got 22,000 drivers. So when you got 22,000 drivers, you're going to have a few there that are good, a few there that are bad. Uh, Shoot, there's companies out here with 100 trucks that's got good and bad drivers. But I've been driving almost 27 years. And of that 27 years, I was under the Swift umbrella for about a little over 6 years of it. So, yeah, that's what I would say. If you want to classify me as a Swift driver because I trained there 26 years ago, then you can do that. And if you're hung up on me working there for a little over, well, about 10 months this last time, then you can do that too. But uh, people kept telling me, "Oh, you're getting ripped off," but yet nobody dry van could send me where they was making money more than me or doing better than me or nothing like that. And I had a good run there. I still talk positively about Swift. It's a good company. And I heard Coach the other night. He still talks good about Swift. He had a good experience there. But I had my own truck sitting in storage, and it was silly for me to pay for storage for it to sit there when I could be out running it, uh, making money. And the happiest I ever was when I was running the load boards. So I knew I wanted to get in a situation where I could use my own truck, preferably with no truck payments, and pick my own loads and negotiate my own rates. And that's what I did. And so you can't fault a guy for wanting to better himself. And did I instantly become a better driver because I left Swift? Did I instantly become a worse driver when I went to Swift? I think we could all agree the answer to that's no. I briefly did the lease op, but quickly figured out that company driver is the right answer for me. Yeah, honestly, it's probably the right answer for most people. And whenever I start saying where I'm working, what I'm doing, you're going to see me try to talk people out of doing it because it's not for everybody. And just because you see me doing good or you perceive me doing good doesn't mean you're going to do good. And it doesn't mean that I know more than you or that I'm better than you or anything like that. But maybe my at home life is different than yours. Maybe my finances is different than yours, things like that. And so um, it's finding what works for you. I can tell you right now, though, the last 3 weeks, more than once, I've thought, I'm so glad my truck payment is $695 a week and not 13 or 1400 a week like an SFI truck. I don't see how those guys are making it right now. The market is really, really tough. Thank you, Speed Shifter. I appreciate it. I really do. And I knew when I did this video and I admitted I was one truck payment behind, 1 week behind, I knew that everybody was going to come out of the woodworks and tell me what a bad truck driver I am and how irresponsible I am. And I had a guy call me earlier today. He said he's 2 weeks behind and he's not going to be able to make his payment this Friday either. So he's going to be 3 weeks behind. And he's a flatbedder. And I was working with him to develop a strategy on how to get caught up because you start getting 3 or 4 weeks behind, and a lot of these places, I don't know how his is financed, but a lot of places will pull the truck. And I was like, you don't want to be out of business. We got to figure this out. These haters don't have anything else better to do. Yeah, and I hate to drag the show down because just like I don't like drama, a lot of you watch this show because it's drama free. And sometimes we laugh, sometimes we talk serious stuff. I think next week we're going to have a serious topic. going to try to bring that healthcare guy on and interview him, and we'll talk about healthcare. And then a couple of weeks later, I'm going to bring him back again so we can hit him with follow-up questions after you talk to your family and things like that. But the reason I'm telling y'all now is if you've got any questions related to health insurance or health care, write them down on a piece of paper or email them to me so that when I get him on, we can ask him good questions and make use of his time. Probably not going to do a deal like we did with Trucker CFO where it's a regular every month deal, but we'll probably bring him back again when it gets closer to open enrollment for a couple more episodes. We'll see how it goes. And I don't have coverage with him, so I don't know if he's good or bad. We'll quiz him and find out together. And I'll tell you guys my honest opinion, and I hope y'all will tell me your honest opinion. What can we do as drivers about predatory trucking companies with these lease purchase scams? Well, this is a great question. This is another one I need to make a video about. I'll shock you with my answer. I think most lease purchases are bad. There are a few of them that are good, but the problem is when you go to a dispatch model, they've got all the power. They're picking your loads. Even if they pay your percentage like Prime does, you never see the rate con, so you don't know if you're really getting what they say you're getting. So that's why if you're going to do a lease purchase, it's better to do it in a situation where you're negotiating your rates, you're seeing the rate con even before the company does, so that you're in control of your destiny. We've all heard of companies, and JB Hunt used to be famous for it. I don't think so much anymore, but they used to be famous of doing a lease purchase with you, and you'd do real good till the last 6 months or a year, and then they'd starve you out, repo the truck, and lease it again. So things we can do is we've got to be communicating in forums like this. We got to be saying, hey, I'm at this company, it's not good. We need to be leaving Google reviews. Hey, this company's not good. We need to be talking to the companies and saying, hey, this lease purchase plan you've got us in is not good. Here's what's wrong with it. Give them constructive criticism where they have an opportunity to improve it. And the most important thing is don't sign them. Read your contract, and if it's bad, if the numbers don't make sense, don't sign it. Go somewhere else. No deal is better than a bad deal. And most of these companies, the numbers don't make sense. I'll give you an example. Hirschbach loves to advertise 99-cent fuel. Sounds good. You pull up at a diesel pump, you see it at some places it's over $4 a gallon. I think in California it's over $5 a gallon right now. And you think, ooh, 99 cents. I'd make all kinds of money because I'm only paying 99 cents a gallon for fuel. But when you read the fine print and you see what you got to do to get it, and when you find out that they keep the fuel surcharge and you don't get it, I mean, heck, Swift's fuel surcharge this week is like 52 or 53 cents. If you get 8 miles a gallon at that level, it's paying for your fuel. So why get 99-cent fuel if your fuel surcharge will pay all your fuel? But guys that don't know think, oh, that's a good deal. Several of you have sent me deals and you go, oh, I think this is a good deal. And it's because it'll include maintenance. Well, you're assuming that the company's going to maintenance the truck the way you would. I worked for one of those companies. It was $140 something a week for the truck, plus 23 cents a mile. And they covered all the maintenance, basically bumper to bumper. And I got out to California and my air conditioner went out and it's 100 and something degrees. And they said, we're not fixing it till you get back to the home terminal. And it's going to be over a week before we can get you back to the home terminal. So for a week, I laid in that hot truck and sweated and everything because they weren't fixing my air when we could have stopped at any TA or Petro and got it fixed quickly. And probably Loves could do it too. And so you think, oh, a bumper to bumper warranty is great, but it depends on the company you're with. And that's why drivers, instead of us tearing each other down and go, oh, I can't believe you work at that company. And I'm guilty of it. I talk crap about CR England. I talk crap about US Express. I talk crap about Western Express. And I'm just as guilty of it as the next guy. But that's not helping the situation. We need to be communicating with drivers at that company and finding out what's good and what's bad, and if you go there, what to look for. There was a company that really wanted me. Well, they wanted me to go to their terminal and film their terminal and interview people in the office. And I found out that in a lease purchase they had an inward facing camera. And when I found out, I had a real problem with that. You guys know what I think about inward facing cameras. And so I said, there's no way I can do it, because if I come in there, I've got to grill you about your inward facing camera. I can't pretend that I'm okay with it. And so we're still in talks. I may do it, but if I do, there'll be a big disclaimer somewhere in that video. They got inward facing cameras, and to me, it's a deal breaker, but if you're okay with it, here's their information. Okay, here's one for, let's see, first off, Slack. I've been an owner operator for quite some time, going on almost 8 years. I don't even know what you're talking about, you YouTube review. Huh? Poor Randy. 8 whole years, huh? And I've been at it 27. So you've been doing it almost a third as long as I have. I've got basically 3 times the experience as you. Again, not knocking you, but take some of that knowledge and wisdom you got and try to help other people instead of trying to tear people down. All right. Ghostface, I thought you were a nice guy, but now you're starting to attack me. I guess you're a troll too. What's NFG? It's a group on Zelle, and they basically, it's where a bunch of trolls hang out and stir up trouble. There's a few good people in there sprinkled in with a lot of trolls. All right, Roger, have a good night. All right, let's see. I'm obviously not seeing all the comments. I'm going to have to look at them on my phone. I don't know why I'm not getting all the comments. I'm going to read some of them off my phone that I may have missed. Tom says, company driver is not a step down from lease operator. I agree with that. And I don't ever talk down company drivers. I've been a company driver several times in my life. I used to work with Red Raider Reloading when he was in here earlier. We worked for separate companies, but at the same place. That's how we met. And so I did that for several years and was happy doing it. So Russian Trucker says, and I'm not going to be able to put these up because not all of them are appearing on the screen. Do you believe we have too many truckers out here on the road? Like, do you believe that's why freight rates are low? I think there's a lot of reasons freight rates are low. I think we've got a lot of drivers on the road, and I think we've got a lot that aren't trained properly. And so that's, I don't want to stir up a hornet's nest, but yeah, there's a lot of reasons why freight rates are low. It's a global economy, and there's a lot of factors that play into it. But part of the reason is you can bid on a load. You can bid $2,800 on a load. I mentioned the one I got going to Florida is $2,700, and somebody will come in and instead of bidding $2,650 or $2,600, they'll bid $1,300, and they go, well, at least I'm getting some revenue. And it's like, you're killing the rates for everybody when you do that, because when the next guy calls in and says, hey, I'm interested in that load, they go, well, the last guy pulled it for 1,300, and then you're negotiating from 1,300. And it's the biggest problem in trucking, and it's that you can't get three drivers to agree on anything for more than 10 minutes, and you can't get them to stick together at all. If we'd quit worrying about what company everybody worked for, and we would start acting as a unit, we could do a lot of great things in trucking. But you know, I'm better than this driver because I'm a flatbedder, or I'm better than that driver because I pull a reefer, or I'm better than this driver because he works for a mega carrier. They've got us so divided, and I talked about it in the last video. They do it in politics too. uh, Asian Americans feel this way, Black Americans feel this way, white suburban voters feel this way. We need to quit separating ourselves. We're all people. And in trucking, we're all doing the same thing. We're all picking up freight and delivering freight. We're all trying to do it safely. We're all trying to get back home. Jesus' name above all names says, and I'm not going to be able to put all the comments up because for some reason it's not showing up in StreamYard. I'm sure there's a few drivers that wish they worked for Swift. I'm sure they aren't the worst. Well, and we've all seen it. Swift has their fair share of bad drivers. But my question is, did the day I started working at Swift, did I become a worse driver? Did I lose all those years' experience? And the day that I quit Swift, did I become a better driver? And just because Swift was bad in the 90s, are they still bad now? Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. They've got different leadership now. They've got different ownership now. And every company's trying to improve. And like I was talking about in the last video, Roadrunner, I've had this debate with a lot of YouTubers, big YouTubers. They were telling us a couple of years ago, Roadrunner's going out of business. They're done. And I kept telling them, no, I've talked to the president. I believe in what he's saying. I think they're going to be fine. And now nobody's talking about Roadrunner going out of business. No hippie trucking and transportation agrees with Tom. Yep, Michael says, brother, everyone has to cut somewhere. Yep, that's true. Hey, Cassius King is here. Glad you made it, man. SFI is owned by Schneider. They finance trucks. Schneider Financial something. Schneider Finance something. And they got some decent trucks, but they are expensive. To me, it's one of the most expensive ways you could get a truck. No Hippie says 3 more weeks left on my Prime Ink lease, and that title is in the mail. Well, congratulations. I'm happy for you. That's a good deal. Are you going to celebrate? Family throwing a party or anything? Like, I'm not being sarcastic, but a lot of people will have like a lease completion party when they pay off their truck. Michael says open deck is really slow right now. Yeah, I remember back when Trucker CFO was coming on here. For a while there, flatbed was the place to be, and then it kind of dropped off, and reefer picked up, and now it's kind of flattened, and then van picked up a little. And I don't know what the hot one is this week. I hadn't had a chance to look. No Hippie says his total of his payments was 180K. That's actually not too bad, just because Prime has really nice trucks. Ted said we need somebody with good life insurance. I had decent life insurance through UTBA if you guys want to check them out. But it goes by your age and health. So the older you get with any life insurance, unless you do whole life, it's going to be expensive. Whole life, you can only get usually 25,000 worth of coverage. I think it maxes out at 25, and they call it final expense insurance, is what a lot of them call it. But to get something that has the big amounts, that'll make your family comfortable, they're generally going to look at your health and your age and things like that, if you smoke or not. Ramon says he's in Oxford, Alabama, going to Miami, Florida. Start driving, doing his PTI. All right, thanks, my friend. I'm going to drive after I get off the air tonight, too. I'll be going tonight. Skyline says, one down, two more trucks to go, hippie. Wow, No Fear says 549 in California right now. No Hippie says next one, pay off in 16 months. That one was more money. I think that one was 18K more. Wow. Still getting a truck under 200,000. They do have some nice equipment there. That way, Super Ego is in the court because brokers had loose lips. Yeah, yeah, and I had a football coach that he used to say, and I still talk to him sometimes. If you do the right thing long enough, you'll get results, and if you do the wrong thing long enough, you'll get caught. And that's what happened. They were doing the wrong thing, and they got caught. Jesus' name above all names. One of us truckers with programming skills needs to make an app that rates trucking companies, shippers, receivers, shops, truck stops, and truck sales locations on certain points for our benefits. Yeah, I would say there's some message boards on the internet that kind of do that now. But yeah, I guess an app would be cool too. I was trying to think some of them I've been on the internet, but I can't, none of them are coming to mind now. But there's a bunch of them out there. Tom Bell says, even worse, that company's inward-facing camera has AI. They also have a $90,000 balloon payment. Yeah, that's something a lot of companies are doing on these inward-facing cameras, putting AI, so it'll look at how many times you're blinking and saying you're fatigued, or if you're changing the radio station, it might say you're texting and driving. And so obviously being Trucker Todd, I couldn't have an inward-facing camera. I'm not going to say why, but it's for obvious reasons. Gary Cook says that he's finally parked in Gary, Indiana. Well, be careful. That can be a wild and hairy place at night. It used to be a lot worse. They've cleaned it up a lot. Yeah, I agree with No Hippie. He says be careful. It's a no zone, no stop zone for him. Chris Lacey says that grilled cheese and tomato soup is where it's at. Chris Lacey says, or I'm sorry, and Jason Shelby says bidding down the price of a load is insane. Well, I get it if you want to go down $50 or something like that, but when they cut you in half, I mean, I'm not gonna race to the bottom, and that's what some of these guys are willing to do. I mean, there's loads on there, I'm not even exaggerating, for well under $1 a mile. Some of them were 25 cents the other day, and guys are swooping them up. It's like, why would you haul a load for 25 cents a mile? Your diesel's going to cost you a lot more than that. My good friend Tim Back, if I see a load that has a bid on it, I bypass it. If we all did that, they would quit letting us cut each other. Yeah, there's a very large carrier that has a load board. I'm not going to say their name, but we all know who they are. That's what they do. They throw a take it now price that's ridiculous that nobody would haul it for. And then beside it, they have a bid now, and they just wait and let truck drivers sit there and slaughter each other. And so they end up getting all their freight hauled real cheap because drivers will just eat each other. No Hippie says, I'm at the Loves in Morris, Illinois. I love off-brand truck stops, but that Naf food is the best. Tim says, if you want rates to go up, quit taking anything less than $2 a mile. Yeah, and I'm not kidding. When you call these brokers and you're trying to negotiate a rate, That's what they'll say. Well, we've been paying $1.30 a mile here lately, and it's hard to bid them up when they got drivers that are willing to do it for $1.30 a mile. I would like to sell it. Oh wait, I missed one somewhere. No Hippie says I'd like to sell it, but the market is crappy. It's a 2021 Peterbilt with 400K. I guess I'll run the crap out of it. There you go. And the comments I can put on screen, I'll put them back up. I don't know. I don't know what happened to StreamYard, but they're way behind. I need to get health insurance. I've gone all of 2023 without insurance. I just couldn't afford it. Yeah, we're going to get this guy on, and I'll see if he's got any life insurance options too. I'm kind of thinking he does. I can't turn it up unless I go to the advanced fleet. Too much of a headache. Yeah, I looked at putting my personal truck on over there, and they want you to switch out your tires to super singles, and they want you to govern your truck, and they still want to put the inward facing camera. And I didn't buy a truck to be treated like a company driver. I'm not knocking anybody that works there, but I want to keep my tires. I don't want to put their super singles on. And I've got my own camera. I don't want their inward facing camera. No Fear says he fills up in Arizona before he crosses over into California. Yeah, that's very wise. No Hippie says the trucks he got were brand new. Yeah, that's the way to go. Jody Scott says, Gary Cook, I was paying $360 a month for Blue Cross Blue Shield. No Hippie says, Gary Cook needs really good insurance parking in Gary. No Fear says he worked for a company with an inward and they go after you for everything. I left there. Yeah, Swift was really micromanaging people, even with the forward facing camera. Because what a lot of people don't realize, they can see you in the reflection off your windshield. And they said they weren't recording audio, but several drivers sent me clips where, you know, if somebody pulled out in front of them, they said a cuss word and you could hear them talking. So Swift was clearly recording in-cab audio, which I feel like it's an invasion of your privacy. You ought to be able to have a conversation with your spouse or your wife without the whole company hearing it. And I had a guy about a week ago contact me. He said that him and his wife were engaging in marital activity in the sleeper, and his dispatcher called him the next day and was commenting about it and was upset that they were doing that in the truck. I will bet there's very few trucks out here that hasn't had marital activity take place in it at one time or another. But if that takes place in your truck, you should be able to do it without the company as an audience. And I would have been mad enough to quit over something like that. Okay, let's see. Todd, what do you think about this new law that Texas is going to implement? We're finally going to enforce B1 drivers. Looks like things are a little out of control with the international license. Yeah, so what I would say about that is I think if you're going to start doing that, you've got to start, I mean, they've got to meet the same standards that American drivers do. It's got to be a level playing field. So equipment's got to be able to pass a DOT inspection. Drivers have to be able to speak English in case there's an accident. I mean, I think for too long they've been allowed to slide on some of the things that they need to know. They need to know our traffic laws. And this isn't any race or any country, but we've got European drivers coming over here that, man, I had one guy, I had to slam on the brakes yesterday because he almost took my hood off. He never looked. He just came over. And so it's going to get really dangerous out here if they don't hold them to the same standards that they hold us to. And in my opinion, at this point, they haven't been doing that, and hopefully they'll start doing that. Wow, Cassius King is cooking boneless pork ribs. Man, that sounds good. I got some hamburger patties in here I was going to cook tonight, but that doesn't sound good. Plus, I still got several hours of driving left to go. Michael wants to know if doing split sleeper berth, is it worth it? Any draw, pros and cons. So, split sleeper berth is like doing a blitz in the NFL. They say you live by the blitz, you die by the blitz. Split sleeper berth is the same thing. There's times that it can be really handy to make a delivery. There's times like I do it usually on Tuesdays and Thursdays because of these lives. I come on here for 2 or 3 hours and then I split log and drive through the night. But if you do it day in and day out, you're eventually going to get yourself in a pickle because you're going to miscalculate at some point or something like that. Also, I'm surprised at how many people don't know how to do split sleeper berth. So if you're going to do it, make sure that you're up on it. You know what the 7-3 split is. You know what the 8-2 split is. And you know just exactly how many hours you're going to have so that you don't wind up 20 minutes away from your delivery and having to sit there 7 hours before you can go deliver. But yeah, there's a time and place for it, but it's not something you want to do all the time. Same thing with running recaps. There's a time and place to run recaps, but sometimes I do it. Sometimes I take a 34. It depends which way will benefit me more, and it's really a judgment call, in my opinion. Good evening, American Trucker. Gary says he's parked at the Petro. This is the only truck stop in Gary I will park at. The showers are clean, I think. No Fear says Petro is good. Yeah, I like that Petro too. I usually fuel at the Loves though, because I get a really good discount there, but I'm not up that way that much anymore. Jason Shelby says, warning to all drivers, stay away from Hurricane Express. Pretty truck is all they offer. Yeah, I was joking with the guy the other day. He was telling me I should go to a company that, a big company and kind of do the Swift thing, kind of mentor and get drivers and things like that. And I said, what would my hurricane video be? I've got a pretty truck. That I'd have to do that video 3 times a week. Look at my pretty truck. Here's me polishing my pretty truck. Here's my pretty reefer trailer. That's all they got. I'm not making money. I'm not going to show you any settlements while I'm at Hurricane. A lot of their drivers complain about office staff not wanting to talk to them. They can't talk to settlements, things like that. I just can't see it as a place that I would want to work, no matter how pretty the truck is. And you get a big hooded truck like that, it's going to be hard to make a lot of money at 5.5, 6 miles a gallon. But I guess they still have people show up every day wanting to work there. But I wouldn't mind talking to the owner and picking his brain. I don't know him personally, but if I got the chance to bring him on a Tuesday show and interview him, I'd probably do it. Sorry, I had to get a drink. Losing my voice. No Hippie says there are people with duals at Prime and the cameras won't affect the advanced fleet if they don't implement them. Yeah, that's what a lot of these companies have started saying is I'll give you an example. Western Flyer Express in Oklahoma City. They'll tell you their trucks have inward facing cameras, but they don't turn them on. But when you start asking these companies, can I put tape over the cameras? Well, no, we don't want you to do that. Or they'll say, yeah. And then when you do it and they get mad at you, they'll use it as the excuse to fire you. So I don't know. It's been a while since I did a video about my big problem with cameras, but maybe on the Thursday night video, we'll talk about that some more. The fuel this morning in Carlisle, Pennsylvania at the Petro was $4.99.9. So fuel is going up. Again, I want to apologize to everybody that I can't put all the comments up on the screen. Let's see if there's any here that I can do. Dennis says he's going to bed. All right, man. Have a great night. I got to get some of these read. They've been waiting over an hour. After I deliver in California, got a load back east to Tennessee. Been out 20-something days. I'm ready. I bet. It get better, Todd, when Trump gets back in office. Yes, sir. That's what I'm hoping for. Hey, buddy. Hope you have a great day. Thanks, Jason. I haul U-Haul boxes sometimes, not full loads, but LTL. Yeah, it's not a bad deal. My truck's in the shop at Freightliner, and they have to replace the head. It's my biggest repair, but things happen. Yeah, they do. And hopefully that's been a good truck for you otherwise, and it'll come out and not have any problems for a while, and you can get rolling again. Also, camp and shipper and receiver parking lots some nights. Yeah, it's nice when they allow you to. And since COVID, that's been one of the good things. A lot more of them are letting people park there now than what they did before. If we ever cross paths, I'll buy lunch. That'd be awesome, Dennis. I never turn down a free meal, or I may buy you one. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, we'll run into each other one of these days. Like I say, if any of you are heading to Florida, holler at me. Hello, other code name Rooster Cruiser. The fifth wheel is such a pain. This one in this truck is one of the easiest ones I've ever pulled. My Swift truck, it had the auto release. You could just flip a switch and it'd pull the fifth wheel for you. International LTs have the approximate weight on drive axles on. Yeah, that's how mine is. It has that gauge where you can see the pressure, and 62 is about where you want it on that gauge. Michael says, hey. All right, I'm going to toggle back and forth between both places. Tim says he's going to run and get a shower and something to eat in about 30 minutes, but for me to call him later or we'll talk tomorrow. Thank you, my friend. We'll see you. Have a good night. I'll still try to call you after the show as long as the phone doesn't blow up. All right, let's see here. I wish I could say what I want about Dart, but I'm a professional, so I'm glad I had the opportunity to at least take a chance. Yeah, they've got a new CEO over there now, so things may be changing again. He seems like a pretty good guy. He was head of Total for a long time, and so I'll be curious to see how that company turns out in the coming weeks and months. Yeah, let's see. Michael says the thing is, if make it now and make it down, still too risky for me. However, yep, exactly. It's risky, but I like the challenge, and I hope I can do it. I just, a lot of guys will come on here and blow smoke at you. I'll tell you the truth, and I guess that's what differentiates me from a lot of guys. I'll tell you right now, it's tough out here. Midlife trucker Tom Bell says the trucks have curtains that can block said cameras. Yeah, this guy said that the rocking of the truck triggered the camera as an event, and that it thought he was in an accident, and that it triggered the microphone, and they could hear him and his wife uh, engage in an intimate activity. And I just that's wrong. Another example I gave him was, what if your wife called you and she had a female problem, breast cancer, cervical cancer, something like that, or she had a family member that was going through something? Do you really want the whole office, your whole company, to know your personal business? And I'm not paranoid enough to think that they're sitting there listening to your every word and everything, but there's always that chance. Maybe you're behind on your rent, or maybe you're behind on your truck payment. Do you want the company knowing that? Do you want the company listening in while you negotiate with when you can catch that payment up or something like that? Michael says, sounds like an invasion of privacy. Yeah, it does to me too. Tom Bell makes some good points here. Split sleeper can be used to eliminate the 30-minute break. It also helps you flip from day to night. Yeah, I like the 30-minute break. I'm an old man. I need a bathroom break every once in a while. Get out and stretch my legs. So I'm okay with it. First time I've been, first time I've even logged into this channel in about 2 weeks. Saw you as live. Thought I'd drop in. How you been? I've been doing good, man. How are you? Ted says, you all hit the like button. Yeah, please do. That'll help. Um, yeah, it's been a while since you've been in here. It's good to see you again. Jason says he's going to DART orientation on Monday. Which terminal are you doing it at? For most of my time there, uh, well, it was either Oklahoma City, Lancaster, or Sellersburg were the three terminals I was out of at different times. Thank you, Randy. I appreciate that. So many rules and laws have changed as well. Yeah, they have. No Fear agrees. I know I'm leaving a lot of people out. I don't know what's wrong with StreamYard. I am looking for another streaming service that seems to work better. Yep, that's true. And that was one of the main reasons I originally started doing lease purchase, is that I wanted to be in charge of the maintenance. Companies will rig stuff and halfway fix stuff, and I wanted to be in charge of it. And because I want to fix stuff the right way. No Fear says, true, Denny. He agrees as well. Skyline says, we appreciate your videos. Todd, I appreciate y'all being here. Every single person in this room is a very busy person. Most of you are working 70 hours a week. And the fact that you would spend a few hours with me each week is really an honor, and I appreciate all of y'all being here. Now, this is funny. I wish I could put this up. Tom Bell says, this is so true, and that's what makes it funny. The owner of Hurricane Express looks like Kenny G. He does. I would love to have a video of him with like a saxophone, or a meme of him with the saxophone. That would be hilarious. Cassius King says they got that Loves and Gary Dunn, and it's got a Naf Nif grill in it. Let's see here. Albert says, I was in Laredo loading last week, and I was the only one with a CDL. Everyone else had an international driver's license. That has to be part of the problem with freight rates. They can live with cheap rates. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, because they don't have the same maintenance standards or nothing. Make them do the same crap we have to do, to where we're all on an equal field. And even then, they'll still have an advantage, because they can take that money back to their country where it's worth a lot more. Albert said, "Good evening, Todd. He was finally able to make a live." Well, I'm glad you're here, my friend. Between what you spent on the purchase of the Volvo and the repairs, you'd have been better off taking your lease. Well, but Swift has a lot of qualifications on that. You have to have it there over a year, and then they tell you how much you have to put down. It's usually $10,000 to $12,000. So, and you've still got the balloon payment at the end. So, I could have done it for about the same as what I bought the Volvo for, but then I'd have still had the payment for 4 more years, and I'd have still had, or 3.5, whatever it was, and then I'd have still had that balloon payment at the end. Whereas the Volvo, there was no payment, and the goal was to drive it like 6 or 8 months and save up enough money that I could buy an even better truck and slowly upgrade over time. I just think the cash is king model, where you've got a paid off truck and you're driving it. I think that's the long term goal. So true, Todd. Yes, sir. Jesus name above names. Hey, how are things? Just jumped on. God bless. I'm going to get caught up on these comments. I really am. We're going to go fast. It's the lightning round. I've been looking at a truck there where you got yours. Uh, yeah, they've got some nice equipment. I'm having some problems with them right now. I talked about it at the start of the show. I've taken their information out of the ticker for now. It's still on my website at truckertodd.net if you need it. But behind the scenes, we're working, and hopefully they will decide to do the right thing in the coming days. I think they probably will. You may need to take a Todd day. I've had a few. I just left the house. I was there for 3 or 4 days. The problem is when I go home, I'm busier than when I'm working. It's real hard for me to put out videos and stuff when I'm at home because I got all the stuff I got to do from when I wasn't there for 3 or 4 weeks or 5 weeks, however long it was. And then I've got all the family I want to see, and they all want to hang out, and then hanging out with the wife. And it's just, I work harder when I'm at home than when I'm out here on the truck. And I'll say that when I'm there. I'm like, I got to go back to work so I can get some rest. I'll wait and see if they make it right with you first before I do anything. That's why I brought it up, because I wanted to, I could have kept my mouth shut, and I weighed my options today. I knew this was going to bring out the trolls, and I could have kept my mouth shut and not said anything. And some of you could have got a truck, and then you'd have called me and you said, Todd, I bought a truck and I feel like he ripped me off. You deceived me. Why didn't you tell me it was this way? And I decided the better course of action is to shine a light on the problems that I've been trying to work out with them for about 3 months now. And hopefully we can get a solution. And what I would love more than anything is in a couple of weeks to make another video and say, these are the problems we were having. Now they're fixed. And now I think this is a great place to get a truck. And so that's, I hope in a couple of weeks, no fear, that I can come on here and I can wholeheartedly tell you, yeah, if you go there, you're going to have a good experience. You're going to get a good truck. It may be the one common denominator, the one thing we all had in common problems with our trucks was getting the title transferred. Maybe this video leads to the title person, the title clerk, getting some additional training or educating herself on different states and what it takes. Maybe she develops a spreadsheet that helps her. All right, if a guy gets a truck from this state, here's what we got to do. If he gets it from this state, here's what we got to do. But we'll see. We'll see. Let's see here. Do you have the bird dog in writing? So what I'd say about that is no. That's something that no company puts in writing. I've all the years I sold cars, all the years I managed car lots. That's never been something that was in writing. That's something that car lots and truck lots do. Any sales lot, even insurance companies do it. And and it's something they can remove at any time. And that would have been fine if they'd have said, well, we were paying bird dogs, but now we're not. Okay, that's fine. But I've got a ton of text messages where they said they were going to pay me. I've got several emails where they're going to pay me. And as recently as today, they're saying they're going to pay me. Nobody's questioning they owe me. They're just questioning when they're going to pay me. And once I said I was going to go live about this, then all of a sudden they wanted to pay me. And I'm like, no, no, if the policy is we can't pay till I make that payment, then let's wait till Friday when I make that payment. I have no problem following the rules, but let's define what the rules are. Yep, I agree with no fear. You never know till you go for it. And I addressed this earlier, but I'm going to do it again. Company driver is not a step down from a lease operator. I believe it's what most people should be doing. There's a lot of great company jobs. If you've got a family, a company job can make a lot of sense for benefits. I wish I had paid vacation. Exactly, Rose. Let's not forget we all started somewhere. This reminds me of, you know, uh, kids will tell their parents, you just don't know what it's like to be a kid. And they forget that we were kids once too. Most of the stuff kids are going through, we've been through ourselves, maybe more. I will say I think it's harder to be a kid now than when I was a kid. I didn't. I mean, we called people gay, but we really didn't know what it was. I didn't know any gay people. We definitely didn't have transgender or teachers trying to talk us into being transgender, like what they're debating in court right now. So I think kids have a lot of more temptations and stresses and peer pressures than what we had when I was a kid, and I think social media has a lot to do with that as well. You, I did that one already. I think I'm catching up now. Let me get down here. We should be making progress now. I'm going to get us up where we were. No Fear says the first thing he'd do with a prime truck is turn it up. Well, it depends how they got it geared. I would assume if they've got them geared for 64, that at 75 or 80 miles an hour, it's probably turning 1800 RPMs. I don't know. The last time I worked at Prime was in 2004, I think, and the trucks were governed at 75 back then. Then we go to nothing under 250 and keep going up. That's the plan. I hope we can do that again real soon, Tim. Back. If rates had come up 20 or 30 cents a mile, it'd be life changing for me at this point. Okay, I did that one already. No Fear agrees that yes, they do record you talking. California fuel is more expensive, but it also has a minimum cetane rating of 50. Yeah, there you go. We got that one already. Let me see. Almost there. That's still funny what he said about the hurricane owner looking like Kenny G because it's so true. I did that one already. Hey, Craig, glad you made it in. Davenport family. Uh, you know, I'm not a great person to ask because I'm always optimistic. To me, it looks slightly better, but it's not time to start celebrating yet. And we're definitely not out of the woods. There was still a very large amount of terrible loads on the load boards as recently as today when I looked. But I found a good one. A friend of mine found a good one, and not as good as we wanted, but decent. And so it's still tough out here. Swift is reporting freight starting to come back up. All the drivers I've talked to said, yeah, their week was substantially better. I've got a friend that's at GP Transco. Matter of fact, I'm going to bring him on in a few weeks and let him talk to you about GP Transco for you company drivers out there. And they're running the crap out of him, over 3,000 miles a week. So I want to get him on, let him talk to you guys. Some of you company drivers that are struggling may want to talk to him and see what kind of opportunities are available for you. Knopf is the best. Yeah, I love Petro. I love Petro. I'm at a TA right now, but I think the restaurant's not there no more. Cheeseman has outward only camera, physically has no inward, no audio. Yeah, that's how my Samsara that I bought was. It doesn't have any inward, and I've personally gone on there and turned the audio off, so it'll never record unless I set it to do that. Nobody else has access to it. But Cheeseman's another company I hear a lot of good things about, and I still want Tom Bell to email me and tell me what kind of drone he's got and things like that, because his videos are pretty cool to watch when he does the truck stops. Here's one about me if I ever went to Hurricane. After you show polishing your pretty truck, then you show the video of you panhandling for food so you can survive. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's funny. Yeah, that would, because I'm a truthful guy. That'd be the next video. It'd be me polishing my truck, sitting on my 5-gallon bucket with one of these hats in my hand, begging for money as drivers walk by. Oh, that's hilarious. No, I left Swift back in April. Still friends with a lot of people there. Still have a lot of positive things to say about them. I just wanted to run the spot market, and I had my own truck, and so that's what I did. But if the sky fell and I lost this truck, or the guy I'm working for said, "Hey, I don't want to do this no more," Swift would definitely be on the short list of companies I would consider again. Had a great experience there, and it was by far the highest paying company I've ever worked for. I did very well there. In CDL school, looking now at Swift or Warner. Um, for training, I don't know that there's going to be much difference between the two. I would probably look a couple other places as well, but I guess what I would ask you is, what is the reason those are the two companies you're considering? And not a knock on you, but a lot of guys, including myself, we choose trucking companies for the wrong reasons. And I mean, I know guys that they pick trucking companies because when they was in truck driving school, that company brought pizza to their classroom. Don't make a career decision because they brought your favorite kind of pizza to class one day. Look at where they run, where you live, what benefits they offer, how long you'll be in training. Read some reviews about the training and about the company itself. Look at their safer score and make an informed decision. Don't just go there because uh, the recruiter promised you the world. Is Total still in business? Don't see them anymore out here. Yeah, I don't know, but I know that the guy that ran it, he retired like in 2020, I think it was, and then he come out of retirement to take the reins at Dart, and he puts out a little 5-minute message every day, Monday through Friday on YouTube, and not very many people watch it. Actually, I don't know how many people know that he's over there, but He really seems like he's trying to make a lot of positive changes over there. Mo says, "Hey Todd, hey man, thanks for being here." Lancaster, so you'll probably, if he's still there, you'll probably have Tony for orientation. Moses is in safety. When you're there, tell him Trucker Todd said hi. Kind of walk around and say Trucker Todd said hi. You'll get varying reactions. Some of them love me and some of them hate me. Some of them love to hate me, so you never know. But yeah, there's a lot of good people there. There's a lady there that works in safety named Tony. She's awesome. My wife and I both really like her a lot. Had a bad experience with that truck sales you went to, called and gave me runaround. Was told I was going to get a call back. I'm still waiting. It's been 3 months. Man, I wish you'd have told me. I would have jumped all in the middle of it. Um, right now, I'm really not recommending them, but if you still want to do business with them, I'll try to help you get in. They do take my call when I call in. I can get somebody to work with you if you're still interested. But if you've got a sour taste in your mouth towards that company, I can certainly understand that, especially this week. The Mexican and Canadian drivers can only drive within 100 miles of the border. Well, that can't be true because you see Canadian drivers all over the country. Now, I don't know about the Mexican ones, but you see Canadian drivers all over the country. Good night, Todd. I have an early start tomorrow. All right, Skyline, have a great night. Thanks for popping in. We'll catch you again sometime. The thing I have missed a few episodes and went back and watched the replay, but your show helps me get down the road at times. Thank you. I appreciate that, Michael. It has a different effect on different people. I've got some family members that puts them to sleep. So some people I help sleep, some people I help get down the road. But you guys make it all possible. The comments, I'd run out of stuff to talk about if I didn't have you guys in here giving me things to talk about. So I appreciate all y'all coming in and putting your 2 cents in. Do you know if Kordell truck sales have any internationals with the Cummins? Yeah, they were running a special on those recently, and they had some with either APUs or EPUs. I think they were EPUs. But he did tell me if somebody wanted an international with the Cummins, that he had some that was in the 300s. So, yeah, if you want to call him and check that out. And feel free to tell him that you heard on it here that you want that international special that he told Trucker Todd about, and he'll know what it is. I think they'd make you a really sweet deal on an international. They need to make it up to all the drivers that were treated unfairly or got a bad deal in the beginning. Yeah, I don't think they're going to do that, but I hope they do. I mean, one thing I did today was I really tried to be representative of all of us that I know about and express the frustration that I've experienced personally and that others have told me about. Sorry, I was reading a comment, and so hopefully they'll take it to heart and make some changes. But I know they were concerned about the video I was going to be putting out tonight, and I'm sure several conversations have taken place about it today, and more will take place in the morning. NFG just made a video about you titled Trucker Todd failed 4 leases in 2 years. Well, that's actually not true. So it would be on par with what they do. I haven't failed 4 leases. It just depends. So let's talk about the companies they're talking about. I worked at Roadrunner, and it wasn't 2 years ago. It was more like 4 years ago. I worked at Roadrunner. I didn't fail that lease. I had a truck, a Volvo actually, and I got $23,000 worth of work done to it in Flagstaff, Arizona, at the Volvo dealer there. At that point, my warranty was ending on the truck, and I barely qualified for the warranty. As a matter of fact, I was like 200 miles under the warranty. And I called Roadrunner, and I said, hey, I want to upgrade to a new truck. I'm not comfortable driving this truck anymore without a warranty. And he said, well, we're not going to let you upgrade. You're going to have to keep driving that one. And I said, so you would rather me quit than give me a new truck? And he said, well, we don't want you to quit, but we can't give you a new truck. And so I said, all right. I went back to Dart, which Dart was a place that I'd worked for 4.5 years previously, a company I knew very well. They gave me a truck with, it was like a 2019 or 2020 Kenworth, and with the understanding that a few months later, when they got a brand new Peterbilt, I'd get one. While I was waiting for the brand new Peterbilt, they had one come in with, I think it had 28,000 miles or something. You'd have to go back and watch the video. And I drove that truck up until the day where I did that video where I caught the shop doing the funny business on my truck. But no, I didn't fail. I was very successful there. Dart will tell you I was one of the most successful drivers they had on the OPI board. I was very successful there, so I don't consider that a failure either. Then I went to Swift, right next door there in Lancaster, and I worked there for 10 months. I was very successful there. It was the most successful lease purchase I've ever done. Made the most money I've ever made. Did very well there. And again, didn't fail. I made so much money that I was able to buy a truck and pay cash for it and get back on the spot market, which was always the goal. So I didn't fail there. Now, F2F, you could say I failed there. Not because I didn't run a lease purchase correctly, but because I wrecked the truck and totaled it. Their safety department let me go. Now I'm in another one. I went and bought a truck. I got the title in my name. It's not a lease purchase. And I'm out here working again. I'm making money. I'm doing good. As a matter of fact, at one point, about a week or two ago, I mentioned to the owner, I said, I'm killing it out here. And he commented, yeah, you are. And, I'm still struggling, but it's not because I'm not making money out here. It's because everything else has gone up so expensive. We've got something like, I don't know what the inflation is right now, isn't it around 9 or 13%? So I think everybody that's owner operator is struggling right now. You notice you don't see a lot of YouTubers putting out videos showing settlements right now. Some do. Cassius King still does his income videos, but most guys are holding that close to the chest. And even Cassius King is telling guys, hey, if you don't need your Netflix subscription or your Hulu subscription, cancel them. Look for ways to tighten your belt and save money. So you're talking about in like a 4-year period, maybe one company you could say I was released for an accident, but not because I wasn't cutting the mustard. DJI Mavic 3 and DJI Air 2S drones. Are they expensive? Like I've seen some that are like over $1,000, and then you see some that are like $40. I know for a fact yours ain't a $40 drone, but if I wanted to get a good mid-level drone, what's that going to cost me? $400 or $500? Warner is closer to me. There's a lot of people that don't like Warner because they are the ones that started this whole electronic log thing. And they do have a reputation of micromanaging as well. But Warner also has a lot of drivers that's been there for a lot of years. What I would do if I was you is try to find some Warner drivers like at truck stops and fuel islands and stuff, and just ask them how they like it there, what their experience is, things like that. Because I've never worked for Warner. Everything I've heard about them's been hearsay. But I think I would lean towards Warner, but I'd want to talk to several drivers before I made my final decision and read a lot of stuff online. Yeah, I agree with Tom Bell. Geography is very important. Silos says he got his CDL at CFI and he highly recommends it. I had an uncle that worked for CFI at one point in his trucking career, but he worked at a lot of companies he didn't like. He didn't care for CFI, but there was a lot of companies he didn't care for. He lives in Delaware. Warner Terminal is in PA. There you go. Without the CDL, they can drive 100 miles in this country. Oh, okay. So they do have to get the CDL if they want to go further than that. I didn't know about that kind of stuff. Swift over Warner. Swift usually loads and lets you finish your run out. Warner will have you swap down the road with another driver. Yeah, I can't believe I'm saying it, but I really had a good experience at Swift. Celos, I've read reviews on CFI. It's a good company. Well, and in fairness, it was 15 years ago when my uncle worked there. I'm sure a lot's changed since then. Yeah, Heartland bought CFI. I think you're right about that. Hey, William Scooby, thanks for being here. Celos said he got his license, did his year, and moved on to learn. I doubt you'll find better. There you go. So that would be CFI. He recommends CFI there, uh, Life of Kentucky. Yep, they bought them. The International is old night trucks with 264. Yeah, they also get a lot of trucks from Hirschbach and several places. And they'll tell you what company the truck was with before if they know. On mine, it was a Hirschbach truck, which I didn't even know Hirschbach had Kenworths, but I could kind of see, where the decals used to be? You could kind of see where it said Hirschbach on the door at one point. Silos wants to know if Life of Kentucky has a permit. Tom Bell, that's a good point. Tom Bell does do his company driver pay videos every week, and so if you're interested in working for Cheeseman, check those videos out. Not much, Pablo. We've been kind of hitting it hard tonight. We've had a lot of troll activity tonight, but we've survived it, and we're still going strong. You can get the DJI Mini 3 in the $500 range. Wow. So some of those others you got are what, like $800 or $900? I thought XPO owned CFI. I don't know for sure either. I'm going off what you guys tell me. Hang on, I'm gonna check my logs real quick. Uh, Come on. Yep, I got to sit here a little while longer. It says I've only got 16 minutes right now. I squeaked in here at the last minute. All right, we're creeping up on the 2.5 hour mark, and I'm still going strong. If you guys got anything y'all want to talk about, throw it up and we'll try to get it in. If you don't, we'll probably wrap it up here pretty quick. Oh, Tom Bell giving us some more information. Says Heartland Express bought Millis Transfer, Smith, and CFI. No fears running Waiting on midnight. He's running recaps. There you go. I've still got a decent amount of hours. I'm in really good shape. Yeah, that was the great thing about Swift. They had all really nice terminals. So if you got to a place like Denver where the truck stops are usually full, you could go park at the terminal. And I did that. Now, the Denver terminal really fills up. They also had some mediocre terminals. I didn't care for the Albuquerque one. I hurt some feelings by saying that in the video. They reached out to me and they're like, "Why do you not like the Albuquerque terminal?" And I told them, and they said, "Well, we're remodeling it. It's going to get better." But yeah, they used to watch my videos, and I think they still do from time to time. But I'm not naive enough to think they still watch every one of them. I came in late. Can you give a recap? Somebody is going at you about being a lease owner. Oh yeah, we had. So I came on tonight, and I was talking about the place where I got my truck. I've temporarily stopped recommending them, and several people in here said they're not going to contact them until I get things worked out with them. And I mentioned in the course of that I got one truck payment behind, and so it brought up a whole deal about how I don't know how to do lease purchases, and oh, I failed at all these companies and all this other stuff. First of all, and there's probably some here tonight, there's a lot of guys that are doing very well in lease purchases right now, and a lot of them will attribute that to the advice I gave them. And so I must know something about it. Now, they say I failed twice and four times in 2 years. Actually, the time span they're going on, if you're going to be fair, is about 4 years. And the only one that's even close to a failure is where I had the accident at F2F and got let go. The others I left for good reasons. I mean, it wasn't that I wasn't successful there. Every one of those companies would hire me back, and I did very well at every one of those companies. Uh, so at one point, I was the highest paid driver at Swift. At one point, I was the highest paid OPI driver at Dart. I mean, I do very well. So I don't consider it failures. I guess it depends how you define the terms, but they're entitled to their opinion. It's my understanding they're releasing videos right now. But what I'm not going to watch it. I don't care what they think. I don't care what they say. Um, they're not interested in the truth. They're interested in pushing a narrative and an agenda. And, they're going to say what they're going to say. 2 or 3 times tonight, they brought up J.B. Weld. And I mentioned to them, and the insinuation they're trying to make was that I had J.B. Weld on my truck. I had it band-aided together. And at the time of the accident, the J.B. Weld failed. Well, nothing could be further from the truth. Literally, the day before the accident, I was in the shop in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and we had just spent $7,000 on repairs. There was nothing that truck wanted for nothing. I had put 2 new tires on it previously in Lubbock. I had redone the heater hoses under the sleeper. Nothing could be further from the truth, but it doesn't fit their narrative. So they're going to make crap up. And the sad thing is, a lot of people are going to believe it. And so we're going to let them be them, and we're going to keep doing what we do. I don't do recaps. My hours are gone in 6 days. Yeah, if you run hard enough, you can get rid of your hours in 5 days. The only thing I miss about Swift was a lot of terminals. Yeah, and the drop and hook. And I mean, there's some pros to working there, but um, there's nothing beats running the spot market and picking your own loads, negotiating your own rates, and not having to. I mean, you go home when you want to go home, you stay when you want, and not having to get it approved by a dispatcher or something like that. What year is your trailer? The current one that I've got right now, I believe, is a 2019. I did have a 2014. I got a video coming out in the morning at 9 a.m. Central Time. where I'm going to show the only 2 trailers I've pulled here. The owner is going to buy 2 more trailers in Atlanta later this month, and he's offered me one of those trailers if I want it. And I'm pretty happy with this one, but I told him let's wait till then and cross that bridge when we get there, and he's okay with that. They're jealous. I think, well, see, I hate talking about them because it sounds like I'm bragging, but they prove it week after week, day after day. When they put, and I bet you if you go watch their video, it'll prove it now. They put my name in the title and people watch. It's how they get clicks, it's how they get views. So they put Trucker Todd failed at this, Trucker Todd bad at that. I mean, at one point they were saying I was a wife beater. At one point they were calling me a pedophile. It gets clicks. Well, if Todd's a pedophile, I want to know about it. Well, if Todd beat his wife, I want to know about it. And so people click on it. And that's all they're all about is the clicks. At one point, they were saying I got fired from Swift for racial comments. And when you see those titles, it makes you click. It makes you curious. And you have to, they realize that I've got a pretty big following of people that think a lot of me, and that if I'm a pedophile, if I'm a wife beater, if if I'm a racist, people want to know. Nobody wants to follow a racist or a pedophile or a wife beater, and so it gets clicks, and they'll probably get 200 or 300 clicks tonight for that video. But they're growing their channel the wrong way, and they should listen to me because my channel's 20 times bigger than theirs are. Well, I mean, one of them, he bought clicks, and if you do that, his channel's bigger than mine. But real people that watch, he's got 200 or 300 people. Sorry. And so the best thing you can do for those type of people is just ignore them. And they put several comments tonight that I ignored. Y'all were able to block some of them, but they're not interested in making trucking a better profession. They're not interested in rates coming up because a lot of them ain't even truck drivers. And none of them know me. None of them, I've offered to sit down, meet with them in person. They don't want to meet in person. They're cowards. They want to hide behind their camera and say what they say and do what they do. And that's fine. But I'm not going to watch their video. I'm not going to fall for their scam. I know me. That's the great thing about being 50. I'm comfortable in my skin. I know exactly what I am and exactly what I ain't. I know what I'm good at and what I'm not. Oh, hell, it don't matter if you had fallen. If your head baling wire and chewing gum and holding it together, that happens sometimes. You have to fix it to get where you're going and then get it fixed really good. Well, this one, and I get what you're saying, William. This truck, this Volvo, I had time. That's part of why it's sitting in storage for 2 months. I was making a killing at Swift. So I had the time. Every time I went home, I put money in the truck. $1,500, $2,000 each time, getting everything right. So it's a little insulting when they say stuff like that. It is true. When it was in Lubbock sitting in storage, there was a crack in one of the air tanks, and it did get JB welded. Another crack developed in another part of the air tank, and that ended up that was when we was over by Chattanooga, and Chattanooga said, "Hey Todd, we really need to put another tank on it. We can order it, have it here tomorrow." I said, "Go ahead and do it." But we fixed a lot of stuff in Chattanooga, and it was a good truck when it left Chattanooga, or so we thought. But yeah, sometimes you do have to limp it to the yard to get it fixed. And in the old days, we used to single out trailers and drive them with one tire till you got to a shop to get another tire. Now DOT will put you out of service for that. But back in the old days, you could pay $25. They'd single out your trailer tire. You could drive to a terminal, and all these big companies did that. And you just drove slow and took it easy until you got to the terminal. So one of the trailers was a Stoughton, however you say it. The other one was a utility. He's kind of got different ones. Like I say, it'll show up in that video tomorrow. I made a point of showing the brand names of the trailers. Yeah, I agree with you, Pablo. It's the price of being on the internet, and I'm fine with it. That's why I'm okay with the questions y'all ask, because I put myself out here, and so I don't have the same rights to privacy that some of y'all do, and that's why I do it the way I do. Where if I'm talking about somebody, generally I don't say their name on here. I'll say the safety director at this company or the dispatcher at this company, because they haven't given up their right to privacy unless they say, yeah, you can make us a video, make a video about us. I usually don't say names. And like tonight, I was talking about two other drivers that had got trucks from Kordell and the problems they had. I didn't mention either driver by name. I did mention Avery because I've been talking about him on here as a good guy to get a truck from. And he may still be a good guy to get a truck from, but we got to get all this stuff fixed first. Can't be successful or fail if you don't try. The biggest ones are the people who never reach for the stars. Ask anyone in 1971 who thought Apple stock was a failed effort. You got this. Well, thank you, Just Stoking. I appreciate that. It, I've got some relatives that way, that they've worked at the same place for multiple years, and they don't see the point in taking a chance. They take the safe road, Todd. Get a job where you got a 401k, take a job where you've got benefits, where you get vacation every year. And there's an argument to be made for that. But I don't want to I don't want to wake up one morning and be 75 years old, if I live that long, in a nursing home somewhere with a bunch of regrets, going, I wish I'd have tried this. I wish I'd have tried that. I'm taking my shots, whatever happens. And I'm going to get on here and tell you guys the truth. If I fail, I'll come on here and tell you, hey, truck got repoed this week. I couldn't make the payments. Hey, blew the engine, couldn't afford the repair. This is an honest channel. And those of you that's been with me a while, that one guy that turned out to be a troll that said he'd been watching me since the Roadrunner days, if he's really been watching me since the Roadrunner days, he knows that I'll tell you the good, the bad, the ugly, both about me and the company. If I screw up, and I've told the companies this, if I screw up, and you don't have to worry about catching me, I'll call you and tell you, hey, I screwed up, and I'll take my punishment. Because I figure the punishment's going to be a lot less if I tell you than if you find out later on or if you catch me. So that's what I do. The owner of this company, he doesn't have to try to catch me. If I make a mistake, even logbook, if I screw up on the logbook, I'll call him and tell him, hey, I screwed up. And it's just the way I am. Sharky says, keep pushing, Todd. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. You are correct. People will talk. And evidently, I give them a lot to talk about. Sure did. If the truck was in such great shape as you say, then whose fault was it you took out a car sending two people to the hospital and rear-ended another semi? Again, I'm not sure where you got your information. Some of your facts are wrong, and I wish I could talk about it, and I can't yet. But I hope to be able to talk about it in the coming weeks. As recently as this week, I was on the phone with some people asking what I could say and what I couldn't say. And those are great questions, and I'll be glad when I can answer them. Great Dane trailers are too heavy. Utility are lighter. Yeah, yep. These trailers have been great. I think the heaviest one I pulled was about 46,000, and I didn't think I was going to be able to pull that much weight with with this truck, but I did. I try and live one day at a time. I believe the good Lord has me driving a truck for a reason, but I love it. Yeah, I used to be really active in church and help teach a class and do a lot of stuff. And I had a home every day job. And I remember when it became time for me to go over the road again, the people at the church were saying, "Oh, God's got a reason he's sending you back on the road." I was like, "I don't know what it is," but now I kind of get it. There's been a lot of good, and a lot of people have benefited from me coming back out on the road. And I've said this in other videos, for most of my driving career, I didn't enjoy it. I just did it because I felt like I had to make the kind of money I needed to make. But the last 2 or 3 years, I've really enjoyed it. Have you disclosed your current company, or have you chosen to keep it hush hush, sir? So to this point, I have not, but it's probably going to happen in the first half of September, in the first week or two. As I said, the owner is going to be buying some more trailers and stuff at the end of the month. And after he does that, I'll probably let you guys know where I'm at. Um, he's very, very particular about who he hires, and he doesn't just rush to fill a seat. So um, he's looking for a high caliber person. And so I'm going to try to talk everybody out of it that wants to go there until I feel confident that they can do the load board and be successful. Because I don't want to send him a bunch of guys that are going to work 2 weeks and quit. He's a small company. It's a big investment to hire drivers, and I want to send him good people and people that represent this channel well too. So I think you'll probably see in the first or second week of September, I may be able to share at that time where I'm at and give a lot more detail. There is no perfect used truck out here. Even new ones have their problems. Yep, that is very true. That is very true. And there's no perfect shop out here either. Um, it's hard finding a mediocre shop these days, and they're all expensive. So it's crazy how much everything has gone up, and how rates have either gone stagnant or gone down depending on who you ask. Yeah, it'll be coming out real soon. It's funny because for the last 4 years, I've been hearing, "Oh, you're just in it for the referral bonuses. You'll say anything just to get drivers to come where you're at." And now that I won't say where I'm at, everybody's freaking out. Like, why won't you tell us where you're at? What are you up to? Why's it got to be such a secret? It's like I can't win for losing. If I tell you guys, then it's like, "Oh, you're greedy. You're trying to get referral bonuses." And if I don't tell you, I'm selfish. So uh, I'll do it in the right time. And I think after he gets a couple more trailers and he's at a spot where he feels comfortable taking on a couple more drivers, then I'll start saying where I'm at. And it's a miracle that several of you have spotted me at truck stops, but you hadn't spotted me in my truck at a truck stop. So it's a miracle one of you hadn't found out where I worked yet. And I was afraid it was going to come out before I wanted it to. And some of you know, and y'all have just respected my privacy, and you've let me tell you when I want to. And so hopefully, in the next 3 weeks or so, I can share where I'm at. This is the most frustrating part for me. I've had several people, and one of them's a real good friend of mine now at Roadrunner. He called me this morning. The very first time he watched my video, I was doing something where I was being a little bit critical of Roadrunner. It wasn't even bad, but I was being critical about some of their trailers and things they did. And he hated me to the point that I thought we were going to have a fist fight. And then he met me and he said, Todd, you're a lot different than you are in your videos. He said, "You're a really smart guy." And we became really good friends. And I've had that happen several times where people get this image of me of what Trucker Todd is, and they hate me or they love me, and then they meet me in person, they have a different perspective. I'm a lot quieter in person. I'm actually a pretty shy guy. But I think most of these trolls, I think if we ever sit down and did lunch and they told me what their grievance is with me, and I told them what my grievance is with them, I think we could work it out. But I would argue they don't want to work it out because then they don't have a YouTube channel. And it's important to them. It makes them feel important. They got followers, and they're stirring drama up, and guys that they perceive to be big names like Coach with 40,000 subscribers, or Trucker Todd with 6,000, or even I heard Cash mention that he has trolls, and I found that real hard to believe because his channel's not even controversial. He'll do videos about trucks that are for sale, or he'll read news stories. Why would somebody troll that? But yeah, it's crazy. I mean, they'll say horrible things about me and make videos about me, stuff they would never say to my face. And when you say, "Hey, let's sit down and talk about it," or "Let's have a phone call, let's work this out," the phone call, they record it and then they chop it and they take you out of context, and all of a sudden you're saying things that you never said. And I don't get it. I used to subscribe and I was curious, and I'd watch their videos, and I'd get so frustrated. I'd be like, why are they saying this about me? Why are they saying I got fired from Swift for being a racist? There's literally nobody saying that. Why are they saying I'm a pedophile? I've never once been accused by any kid. The police have never been called on me for pedophilia. Why are they saying I'm a wife beater? None of my wives, none of my girlfriends, I've been married twice, none of them have ever accused me of hitting them. I've never had the cops called. Who would even think of that? And what kind of mind thinks of that kind of stuff? I don't naturally look at somebody and have those thoughts about them. No, my company's not out of Texas. Huh. He's in the Southeast, and we've had conversations about me moving to that area. I would if, but my kids would hate me. But I really like where he lives. It's a nice area. This past weekend, I almost went out on the boat with him. I was going to go to church with him and go out on the boat with him, and I was just so tired I couldn't. But he's got a Mexican food restaurant he wants me to go to, so hopefully next time I go over there, we can go out on the boat and go eat Mexican food together and do that. Michael says, as long as you're making money, enjoy doing it, then piss on everyone else. Yeah, that's what I used to say in the videos. If you're making $600 a week and you're happy, then I'm happy for you. I'm not going to tell you you're getting ripped off. I'm not going to tell you you can do better. If you're happy at 600 a week, I'm going to tell you congratulations. If you're making 1,200 a week and you say, hey, I want to make more, I'm going to try to help you make more. If you are making 4,000 a week and you think you should be making more, I'm still going to try to help you, but I'm also going to talk to you about, do you have realistic expectations for the job you're doing? And so I'm never going to tell you you're an idiot for doing what you're doing, or how could you do that? And if you're at 600 a week and you're going, hey, this, I think I'm getting ripped off, I'll be like, yeah, it's a little below the national average. Let's see if we can figure out what the problem is. It's like the Republicans and Democrats getting along. Well, that's the sad thing, Gary. When the cameras are off, the Republicans and Democrats, a lot of them are really good friends. But when the cameras turn on, they got to play to their political bases. And I think that's what's going on here. I think if I met most of these guys at a truck show or at a truck stop, they'd probably be real friendly to me, and I'd probably be real friendly to them. But then when they got out to their truck and turned their camera on, they'd talk about what a dummy I was and how fat I was and how I talked slow and all of that. It's fake, 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 fake. Jim Trucker, hello. Thanks for being here. Art Lover thinks it's funny that somebody would think I was smart. Well, only thing I can tell you, Art, I must be doing something right. Good deal, my friend. Hello, Billy Bob. I'm not controversial. Narc sent me. Good deal. Tell Narc I said hi. Narc is actually one of those guys that I'm actually a fan of Narc. When Narc is when he's on and when he's in his prime, Narc's one of the funniest guys on YouTube. But the problem with Narc, and I guess the problem with that whole genre, is they run out of stuff to talk about, so they have to make stuff up. And but Narc can be a very funny guy, and I've talked to him on the phone a few times. He's really a pretty nice guy, but he wants to keep the drama going. Narc is not interested in a solution. He's not interested in fixing any problems in the trucking industry because he's not in the trucking industry. He's a mechanic, and there's nothing wrong with being a mechanic. It's a noble profession. I have a son that's a mechanic, but I mean, we've got different goals on here, and that's fine. He's got an audience that wants to see comedy, they want to see drama, and I've got an audience that's trying to make a living out here in truck driving, and we're both playing to our audience. But Narc is one of those that I have no doubt if we met up at a truck show somewhere and we spent a weekend hanging out together, or we went to a bar and had a cheeseburger and drank a beer together, I think we'd get along just fine. We like the same kind of stuff. He's got that four-wheel drive Jeep. He's got guns. He's kind of what we would call a country boy in Texas. I think we'd get along a lot better than he thinks we would, but it wouldn't serve his agenda. What part of Texas there, Jim Trucker? Rob's going to sleep. All right, man. Have a good night, my friend. You live in Texas because you want to be closer to Jim. What's Jim, you sexy mofo? I'm a cracker, though. Exactly right, Todd. You give them content to talk about. Well, we all do. I mean, every one of us YouTubers do. When you're on air, you figure I do these shows usually 2 3 hour shows a week, so that's 6 hours. And then I sprinkle in a few recorded videos when I can. Let's say I'm on the air 6.5 hours a week. During that time, I'm going to send something that if you don't have anything better to do, you're going to have content to make fun of. And so that's fine. You know, if if you base every decision on your life on what the world thinks, you'll never have nothing. Um, People are always going to tell you it's a stupid idea. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that. There's risk takers and there's people that aren't risk takers. I don't focus on the people that are down, putting me down, things like that. I focus on the guys that are coming up to me at truck stops and want to shake my hand. They're saying, "Hey, that video you did really helped me." Or the guys that their wives want to get on their phone and they're crying, "Thank you for what you did talking to my husband. You changed our finances." I had a guy that was losing his house. I helped him save his house. I had a guy that his pickup got repossessed. I helped him get his pickup back. That's the reason I do this. And I don't come on here and brag about it. That was over a year ago. I don't come on here and do videos about it and brag and pat myself on the back. And sometimes they'll come in the comments, they'll go, "Oh yeah, Todd helped me. Todd did this, Todd did that." That's the reason I do this. If the side effect of that is, a dozen people hate me because I'm trying to make the world a better place, or a dozen people hate me because I'm trying to make truck driving a little better, or the image of truck drivers a little better, then that's just a side effect. I think the benefits outweigh the criticism. Texas sucks. Parts of Texas do suck. I would agree with you. Parts of Texas are heaven on earth, though. If you need this fool or anyone on YouTube to help you be better at anything, you should unlive yourself. Well, I'm sorry you feel that way, Winzard, but you are entitled to your opinion. Obviously, I must put something out of value because you found it necessary to come in here and watch and comment. So I have to ask why you're here if you don't like the content. Do like I do the trolls, just don't watch. If you don't think I offer anything valuable, don't watch. But you obviously get something out of it or you wouldn't be here. What I've always said is if you have kids to take care of, play it safe and make sure you take care of those kids. Beyond that, go for it. Yeah, I agree with that. That's great advice, William. My kids are all grown. I've got grandkids now. It's just me and the wife at the house. So I'm not hurting anything. I'm having fun. And like I said, it's you guys have made me a better driver because y'all ask me good questions. I have to do a lot of research. I have to listen to a lot of books, things like that. And I hope I've helped a few of you along the way. And I know I have because uh, you guys have told me that I do. I used to participate in the NFG. It's not a bad chat room. You have to have thick skin, though. I agree with that. There is a lot of good people in there. And I'll tell you this, too. This will be the most controversial thing of the night. A lot of them in there like me, but they don't want to admit it. They're like closet Trucker Todd fans. And that's okay. It's more fun to get on there and say controversial stuff and hide behind the microphone and things like that. So that's okay. So my favorite broker is the one I hadn't got to use very much. I like CH Robinson, but I hadn't been able to use them very much. Most of my loads I'm pulling off the DAT board, and they could be any broker there. Also, I've pulled a couple of loads with a few Landstar brokers that I've made connections with, and I do really good on those loads. I pulled a Landstar load the other day that was $3 a mile, which a couple of years ago would have been an average rate, but right now it's a pretty good rate, especially in dry van. Yeah, I do. I do Uber Freight sometimes. I have their app, and I look on there, and if they have something that works for me, I use them. There's a situation coming up in the next few weeks that might make it to where I use Uber Freight a lot more than what I have been. But I use them. The very first time I used Uber Freight was at Dart. So I've been using them since 2009, I guess you could say. Well, he's going to say what he's going to say. I've got his phone number, and we've talked on the phone when the whole deal between me and Jason blew up. He and I talked on the phone. We've also emailed back and forth several times. He's going to say what he's going to say. Again, doesn't change what I think about him. Nark's a good guy. Sometimes he has some funny stuff. Sometimes he goes too far. But he's going to say what he's going to say. You are one of the few truck channels I follow that I believe will actually try to. Oh, well, good. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I don't watch a lot of trucking channels either, mainly because I don't want to be accused of copying other YouTubers or things like that. I want my opinions on here to be mine. I really regret that I didn't follow the yellow story closer because I got a ton of questions about it, and I really wasn't in it deep enough to know much about it. Yeah, I don't know that he would do that in person. I mean, what you find is when you have that situation, and Nark's a lot younger than me. Let's see what Nark looks like when he's 50. But a lot of people, it's kind of what I was alluding to earlier. A lot of people will say stuff behind the camera that they wouldn't say to your face. And maybe Narc would say it to my face. So far, every opportunity I've made to meet up with Narc, and I'm not talking about for violent purposes, just every time I've reached out to Narc, let's talk, let's work this out. He backs off, makes some excuse. So I have to think at this point that he doesn't want peace, that he's not looking for a solution, and that's fine. I'm too busy to worry about what he thinks or what he wants. But the door is always open. He can email me if he ever wants to sit down and talk like adult men at some point. We can work that out. And if he wants to take pictures and put them on sticks and burn stuff in his yard, that's okay too. I don't really care. Seems like a waste to me, though. I said this in another video. Um, we've only got so many years on this earth, and instead of doing what he's doing, which is not productive, doesn't help anybody, spend time with your loved ones, spend time with your family, and donate your time to a charity. Try to do some good with your time instead of just trying to constantly tear people down. San Antonio, well, you're not that far from me. You're what, a little over 300 miles south of me. My son goes to San Antonio quite a bit. They love it down there. Sometimes we get some big deals in here. We get Cash is King, and we've had DIY in here a few times and things like that. I agree with you, JF. This is hilarious. All right, Rose, have a good night. Thank you. Safe travels to you as well. No, JF, I didn't lose 4 jobs. I've had 4 jobs. I explained it earlier when I left Roadrunner. The reason I left Roadrunner. Explained it when I left Dart. The reason I left Dart. I explained why I left F2F, and I explained. I explained it all. It's whether you whether you choose to believe it or not. It's up to you. Nope, no fatalities, no tickets were written, nothing like that. Todd, you ain't no trucker. Well, you could have fooled me. You're one of the few truck channels I follow. I believe you would go out of your way to help anyone that's worth helping. Well, thank you, John. I appreciate that. Again, that's never happened. I've reached out to the people that were passing that rumor. Show me the police report. Show me the woman. Let's bring a woman on that says I ever hit him at any point. JF, this is an English only chat. This is fun. I'm glad you like it, JF. I'm in the NFG all the time. Don't remember anyone asking Wenzard for his opinion. Well, the thing is, they think they're getting to me, and you notice I'm sitting here laughing. I think it's funny too. It's just childish, and they'll get tired and they'll go back in their little groups and talk all kinds of crap, and there's no telling what I'll be guilty of tomorrow. Uber Freight seems to pay pretty good once in a while. I will haul loads for Coyote. Yeah, I also have Coyote. I forgot about them. Uber Freight, you got to watch them though. They'll have these round trip bundles, and they don't pay well usually. You usually get screwed when you do those deals. When Narc gets it in the big hole, he's unstoppable, funnier than anything. Yeah, yeah, that is true. That's what I was saying. When he's in his prime, he's pretty funny. No, I don't know anything about that. I really don't. I don't even know. This is the truth. I don't even know who the good guys and bad guys are. Like I hear them talk about what's his name? Uh, I can't even think of his name. The guy that that does the live show, the really long one, like 6 or 7 hours. He's got a beard. I don't know if he's a good guy or bad guy. I know they've asked him about me, and he said that he's never watched any of my stuff. But I can't even think of his name right now. But I don't know who's good, who's bad, who said what. I don't watch any of those videos anymore. Um, I wish them all the best. And like I said, some of them are making videos about me. That's fine. But I don't follow that. I'm a very busy guy. Those of you that have tried to call me know that. And sometimes I can be really hard to get a hold of. I don't know anything about Billy Raines, good or bad or otherwise. And that's the truth. Jim Trucker says, dang. Yeah, Wesley said he had a good experience at Swift. He and I had the same OOC. Great guy. Yeah, I think it's funny too, Terry. James Best, that's his name. Yeah, an ex-friend of mine used to love James Best's show. And when we were at Matt's, James Best was supposed to be there, and he's like, he was my camera guy, but he was saying, hey, if James Best comes, can we go meet James Best? I said, yeah, we can go meet James Best, but I don't know anything about him. I was like, tell me about him. Is he good? Is he bad? He said he's hilarious. His show is funny. You got to watch it. And I've never watched James Best, but a lot of people say he puts out really funny content. And he's on my list of people to watch one day because everybody's like, oh, you got to check out James Best. But I honestly don't know anything about him. Looks like everyone is a YouTube though guy. Yeah. James Best. That is definitely who he is. Oh, this is a great point. Excellent point. YouTube is like WWE. On the air, hate and discontent, but in person, we'd all get along just fine. This is an excellent point because it even follows the the WWE script, and a lot of them are WWE fans. So I'll give you a perfect example. You can have two YouTubers that are fighting, and they'll turn heel, and all of a sudden they're on the same team and they're fighting somebody else, like a tag team match. And that's what seems to go on. Two YouTubers will get to arguing, or this group will get to arguing with that group, and then all of a sudden the sides switch, and people that hated each other are now working together. And I didn't come on here to join a clique. I didn't come on here to you know make a bunch of friends with famous YouTubers. I came on here to help people. And if working with somebody will give us the chance to help YouTubers, then I'll do it. If avoiding somebody makes it a peaceful place, then I'll do that too. I'm super confused about the Billy Raines videos. I'm trying to piece it together because I don't watch any of the guys he brings up in trash talks. I Believe me, I don't know who he is. The only one I know is Trucker Gal. And at one point, I was trying to get her on my show because she was cooking on the truck and doing a lot of diet and exercise type stuff. And I thought that there's a lot of YouTubers truck drivers that could benefit from healthy eating, staying out of the truck stops, stuff like that. So at one point, I even emailed her and I was like, or sent her a comment on one of her videos or something. I was trying to get her to come on my Tuesday show and get her to talk about diet and exercise and how to cook healthy on the truck. Since that time, Scorpion Trucker, who comes in the channel a lot now, he'll be in the comments. He does a lot of cooking on his truck, and I know him a little better. I've had a few phone conversations with him. So he and I have talked about him coming on sometime and talking about, how to eat healthy on the truck, what he cooks. But he's done a lot of work to his truck. His truck, he's got like a chopping board that pulls out like a drawer so he can chop up, onions and stuff and make all kinds of stuff. But when her drama broke out and she hated NFG and then she liked them and all of that, I don't know what any of that was about. Who was the good guy? Who was the bad guy? But it is very much like Rooster Cruiser was saying. It is like the WWE plot line and storyline. Well, if James Best is like Larry the Cable Guy, I'll probably like him because I think Larry the Cable Guy is very funny. That's right. Get her done. Yeah. So I don't know nothing about him though. I think he's a truck driver. I think he owns a truck. Somebody said Tim was working with him or for him, or I don't know. I'm not in that circle anymore. What's the furthest you've had to deadhead to pick up your next load? Last week, I deadheaded from Colorado Springs, Colorado to Salina, Kansas. So here at this company, I'd say probably about 200 miles. When I was at Swift, though, and here's where everybody's going to say I'm stupid. I was out in California. They were having fires. They were having a storm coming in. It was like the apocalypse out there. And Swift was pulling their baloney. We don't have any loads. We don't have any loads. And I told them, I said, I'm giving you till 2 o'clock today, I think it was. If you don't have a load, I'm going to start deadheading to Texas. I'll call you tomorrow because it's a 2-day drive. Wherever I'm at, I'll ask you if you got any loads in that area. If you don't, I'm going to Texas. If I get to Texas, I'm going to stay there for a while. Well, sure enough, I made it all the way to Texas, and I took like a week off. So it was like 1,200 miles of deadhead. But what you have to consider is the bad weather that I would have been trapped out there, the fires. I mean, it could have been a really dangerous situation. So it wasn't me being stubborn or jerk or nothing like that. I needed to get to a safer place, and why spend money at a truck stop or in a hotel? I'll just go home. And only had to do that. I think one other time I did like 400 miles going home at Swift. But here I've been pretty fortunate. If I just keep looking and looking and looking, I can find something. Okay, let's see. We're at the 3 hour and 12 minute mark. Let's see what the logbook says. Oh, that's not good. We may be spending the night here. We may be spending the night here. Hang on, somebody's knocking on my door. I'll be right back. So I don't know why, with my curtains closed, somebody would come up to the truck and knock on it and ask me if I'm staying the night here. But man, it that boils my blood because he doesn't know if I'm sleeping. Maybe he does. He can see the lights on in here, but that's frustrating. So how hard is it to find loads to go home to Lubbock? It can be challenging. It really depends where you're at. After you've done this a while, you kind of learn places to go that you can get loads here. there's that Walmart in Plainview. So a lot of times you can find a Walmart load going there. There's a lot of stuff going to Midland, Odessa. And there's starting to be some more stuff coming to Lubbock. They're building 2 Amazon warehouses there. They're building a cheese factory there. So also Yano Logistics, which is the Albertson warehouse, is there. There's also a McLean's there. So it's definitely easier to get a load to Dallas and then get a load from Dallas to Lubbock. But you can also get loads to Amarillo, things like that. I'm setting up a deal right now where I can pick up loads in Dalhart when I leave the house. So it's just, the more you do it, the more you learn. But yeah, it can be challenging if you don't know where to go or what to do, for sure. And, as you build relationships with brokers, and they start finding out where you live, they kind of help you look for stuff too. Right now, just because of the economy, I'm not too focused about going home. I'm more focused about out here trying to make money. Now, if rates get back up like they was when I was at Dart, then yes, I'll be going home a lot more like I did back then. JF Trucker says he's headed to Tampa and then south to somewhere south of Tampa. I'm on my way to Lakeland, Florida right now, and I'll probably be there tomorrow night or sometime early Thursday morning. From the middle of nowhere in Maine to the port of Houston. Well, that's a pretty good long run there, Michael. I was just up in Maine, about a week or two ago? I was real afraid I'd get up there and not be able to find a load out, and I got a load out, but let me tell you guys this, it's going to be a while before I want to go to the Northeast again. This month alone, I've spent over $600 on tolls. And yeah, I got a little bit better rate going up there, but it's kind of made me sour on the Northeast for a while. I think I want to do the Midwest and the Southeast a little more if I can. All right, we're at 3 hours and 17 minutes. If you guys got some more stuff you want to talk about, throw it up and we'll get it discussed. If not, we'll probably wrap this thing up in 10 minutes or so. And hopefully my logbook will say I can drive a little more. If not, I'll probably cook me something to eat and go to bed or take phone calls all night. I got some people that are already waiting for me to call them after this ends. Get another swig of water. Well, let's drink the Pepsi before it goes flat. Yeah, I do. I use an app called Truck or Toll Guru, and it'll tell you the tolls. It even figures it based on what kind of transponder you got. And the problem is you look at it for one trip and you go, it says it's $75, and you go, okay. And then you look at it for the next trip and it goes, it's $36, and you go, okay. And then before you know it, you're at $600 and something like I am, and you're going, holy cow. And so that's how I got there. But if I go up there again anytime soon, it'll be in and out. I won't bounce around up there like I did last time. Holy cow, Gary. He said his toll bill for July was $1,100. He did run a lot of tolls for July. Dang, I've never had that much. I thought 600 was a lot. And it's one of the secret benefits to Swift that I always mentioned it and people were like, so what? But Swift paid your tolls and they didn't give you a hard time about it. So yeah, in a situation like that where Gary spends $1,100 or I spend $600, that's a head start we'd have had at Swift because they're paying our tolls. Now it'd been at a lower rate. They're paying, either $1.26 or $1.36 plus the fuel surcharge. And here we're negotiating our own rates, but it's nice when a company pays your tolls or pays your plates or something like that. But I still like what I'm doing better now. it's nice not having all the bureaucracy. I pick up the phone, I call the owner, I say, here's my concern. He says, you got a good point, Todd, or you're full of baloney, Todd, and we move on. Hey, Todd, I've never heard you say there's your wife ever come with you. Yeah, she does sometimes. She used to go with me. Well, for the 4.5 years I was at Dart, she was with me the whole time, 190% of the time, let's say. Um, she's never gone with me with this company or with F2F. I think she went with me once or twice with Swift. She's had some medical problems, and so she has a lot of doctor's appointments, and it prevents her from going. Recently, she started working a job in Lubbock, and so she's not able to go while she's working that job. But at some point, she kind of misses riding with me sometimes. So at some point, she may take some time off work and go with me. Or if I'm doing a short trip where she can go and get back, she might go with me. But sometimes you'll see her in the home videos. She's really shy. We actually kind of both are in person, so you generally won't see her in a video. And but yeah, she's still around. She's still real supportive of what I do and things like that. She's off today and tomorrow, so she's doing laundry and fun things like that, getting ready to go back to work. Later, guys. You folks have a safe one and a blessed one. Thanks, Michael. Be careful out there. Pennsylvania Turnpike is very expensive. So is New Jersey. I've run up and down the East Coast. Yeah, yeah. It had been a while since I had to worry about that because Swift paid the tolls. Roadrunner paid the tolls, if I remember correctly. I don't think Dart did, but I was on percentage, so I didn't mind it as much. And I didn't run out that way very much back then. But man, I can't imagine. I can't even imagine a $1,100 toll bill. I'd have a heart attack. Okay. Anything else you guys want to discuss? 322. We'll go like another 7 or 8 minutes, or we may call it quits here. I appreciate everyone being here tonight, by the way. Um, you guys check out the website, truckertodd.net. Email me at todd@truckertodd.net. You can also message me through the website. Um, and we got another video coming out in the morning at 9 a.m. Central Time. I'm going to show the 2 trailers I've pulled since I've been at this company. And then I'm going to try to get that other video cut for you guys. Somebody was asking me about what to do in the event of an accident, things like that. So I'll try to put that video out too, either Friday or Monday. A lot of people don't realize it's a time-consuming deal to put a video out. Remember back in '96, I used to run in and out of New York City. $40 would get me in and out. Not anymore. No, somebody was saying that the GW Bridge is like, what is it, like $200 now or something crazy just to go across a bridge. I hadn't been up there in probably a decade. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close this video out. Appreciate everybody being here. Gary, holler at me sometime. Y'all have a great night. We'll see you on Thursday. Be careful out there, and we'll see y'all later. Take care. Bye-bye.